If you've ever picked all four one seeds to make the final four, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook as we wrap up Q1 here on March 31st, 2025. And oh my God, the world is ending probably. Hug your loved ones, folks. It's probably all over. Futures are under pressure. Everything's bad. Tariff, tariff, tariff. What are we going to do? We break it down right now. Good morning and welcome back, everybody, and happy Monday. I hope that you all had a wonderful weekend. Well, you had some fun, made some money, enjoyed the weather, whatever it is that you folks do on the weekend. Hopefully you had a good one. We're back for another week here in the markets, and it is starting off in the red. Futures under pressure here this morning, probably because we don't have very much longer on this world. If you look at the news, oh man, everything is coming to an end. S&P futures down 1.07% here today. Dow futures down 0.7, and NASDAQ leading the way down as per usual, minus 1.45%. Let's see how everyone's doing here today. We got a short crew probably out there stocking up for the apocalypse. Kayla, good morning. Welcome back. First here today, Kayla. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Asrar, good morning, everybody. Good morning, and it's great to see you again. Diamond Hotline, checking in. Love to see it. Paul, good morning. Welcome back. Sun-Kissed Yogi, good morning. Welcome back. Chuck, good morning. Welcome back. Jonathan, checking in. Producer, locked in. Day Trader, good morning. Folks, if any of you are looking for crypto, like new things, crypto-related, new ideas, new things to read about, give our man Day Trader a follow here on Twitter. Day Trader, over the weekend, you had one post, and I was like, that's going to give me something to read. And then boom, 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 boom. I was like, wow, my entire weekend is going to be filled up with reading here. Real good stuff. I actually looked to learn about some of the new crypto, like altcoins and some of the other stuff out there. So really appreciate that. Keep sharing your ideas. I think that's sweet. I personally don't actively trade crypto. I'm just more of like a hodler and pick my spots. So I really enjoy reading what other active traders out there are doing. Day Trader, that was really good stuff. Again, keep posting that. I'd love to keep reading it, and I will keep sharing it. Also, congrats on your win as well. Here, we got to spread some happiness this morning, my man. We got to get that cash register ring going on. Sebastian, happy Faloona sell-off today. Now you're naming sell-offs after me, and you're calling them happy. Oh, man, I am going to have the worst reputation in the world. You guys keep doing that. Shadowed One, good morning. Happy Monday. Cam, so super good PSA right here. In fact, we're going to highlight this one. Happy April Fool's Eve. Now, I don't know about you folks, but if you have an office that has a bunch of pranksters in it, tomorrow might be a rough day for y'all. That is definitely the case here at Benzinga. We definitely have people that like jokes, that like to tell jokes, that craft jokes, almost like Play-Doh. And so April Fools every year is kind of crazy, right? Because you have to sift through a whole bunch of jokes. This is a really good warning. Happy April Fool's Eve. Be careful tomorrow. Don't get fooled by something that's obviously false. Been there, by the way. So we'll see what happens here tomorrow. Stay vigilant, folks. JJ, good morning. It's great to see you again. Harley, good morning. Great to see you. Bernhard, welcome back. Fairchild, welcome back. Crystal's checking in. Good morning. Dermog, good morning. Ralph checking in. Quantum Vortex, good morning. Blazed Rhino, good morning. I built a bunker this weekend and stocked up for 100 years of food. There you go, Blazed. There you go. DM me the address, so if stuff really pops off, I'll be able to help you fortify that. White Chocolate Mocha, good morning. Welcome back. Overseas, good morning. It's great to see you. Okay, hey, there we go. Thanks, Ryan. You're welcome. Limit order set for Zeus at 26 to get back in. Traded it on the way up. Took the profits, wait for it to go back down. Absolutely love it there. Let me know if you get filled on that. Tyler, good morning. Can we check out Tesla and NVIDIA, please? Yes, we can. In fact, now I have added the first two stocks officially to the list. Tyler, we will check both of those out, and we will do that before we even hit the movers. We'll break down these charts as best we can. Terlingua, good morning. Hellcat, good morning. Mark, good morning. From San Carlos, city of the Philippines island. All right. Checking in from the Philippines. Mark, good morning. Hope you're well. Hans, good morning. Start time to take out the shopping list. You got it, Hans. That's what we're going to do. Maverick, good morning. It's good to see you again. Hopefully you're not inverted. We'll see. Maverick, good morning. Happy Monday. Ed, time to make the donuts. Not opposed to that. Good morning, Ed. Good morning, Ben. All right, let's go ahead and check out. Let's just go ahead and get started here. I'm going to start with the morning report. Oh, if you could look at Hood. Yes, we can. In fact, I actually think we have a story involving Kathy Wood that also involves Hood. So that's perfect. Gatekeeper, that is absolutely perfect. We will definitely do that. Let me go ahead and share this here. Boop, boop. Okay. Also, Marky, good morning. And Tyler, you're welcome. Okay, we're going to start with the morning update powered by Benzinga Pro. This is a new feature that is coming to Benzinga Pro. Should give you a pretty good way to start off your day and then reference it should you need to. We have a bunch of economic events on here, but a lot of these are not necessarily U.S. Events or the really big ones. A look ahead to this week. Tuesday, we've got the ISM manufacturing PMI and the JOLTS job openings. That's going to be tomorrow before the market opens. On Wednesday, we've got oil and crude data. We're going to be getting that right at the market open. Thursday, we have the initial jobless claims and the import-export data, as well as the ISM services PMI. And Friday, we've got non-farm payrolls and a bunch of Fed speakers. So the economic events are going to get more important, I guess, is the right way to say it, as the week goes on. Of course, Wednesday, April 2nd is going to be the big day, right? That's going to be Liberation Day, end of the world day, whichever way you view it. That one's coming April 2nd. So we'll see what happens there. Just a quick look at the indexes. Again, under pressure here. If you turned on the TV at all this morning or over the weekend, it looked bad. And that's exactly where we're going. The good spot here, gold, new all-time highs. So for those gold bugs that are out there, those of you that have been pounding the table on gold, you are continuing to get rewarded here. Remember, I know we kind of poke fun at Jim Cramer here, but he does have a really good saying. There's a bull market somewhere out there, and it's up to us to find it. Sure has been in gold recently. Bitcoin also down here 0.5%. I suspect at some point this week, we are going to test that 80K level. We'll see if we fall through it or if we're able to hang on to it. No big events here today. Now, the calendar here says no IPOs, but there actually is an IPO here today. Newsmax, the conservative-leaning TV channel, will IPO here today under ticker NMAX. That's NMAX, November, Mary, Alpha, X-ray. I'm probably not going to trade it. Frankly, that's not my cup of tea. And I don't even really watch Newsmax, so I don't know the product. I'm probably going to avoid it, but that IPO is coming here today. And then we do have some other stuff to take a look at here. Now, earnings. Oops, sorry about that. Earnings, not a whole lot in terms of some of the bigger names. Workhorse is reporting earnings here. I know some people trade that. I don't know if that's a popular one or not. We got RCAT after the close here today. You know what? I'm going to throw RCAT on. Nobody asked yet. I'm sure somebody will, but nobody asked yet. Let's take a look at RCAT here today. And I think that was probably it. Sciata Mobile, we've traded that one here. Vivos, I feel like we've traded that one here before. So we'll see. SPIR, I feel like we've traded that one here. None of the big names, but some of the other former stocks that we've traded off of the relative volume scanner are going to be reporting earnings here today. So we'll see how that goes. As far as new initiations, IONQ slapped with a buy rating from Benchmark with a price target of 45. Stock is down almost 7%. And the pre-market here today as it moves with the rest of the market here. Let's see if they're PanW. Buy from Rosenblatt with a 235 price target. You know what that means. You guessed it, adding PanW to the list as well. Still think that is going to have a huge 2025 here. And I think it's not alone. I think there are going to be a couple of other stocks in that sector that are also going to have big years, but we'll see how it shakes out. Hoth Therapeutics. Yes, that Hoth. I know. I can't believe it either. D. Boral putting a buy rating on that with a $5 price target. I don't know how I feel about that, but you guys tell me how you, or you guys and gals, tell me how you feel about that. As far as upgrades go, not a whole lot. KLAC and STLD Steel Dynamics here, they both got upgrades. They're both slightly down here, just under 1% in the pre-market. And then as far as downgrades go, US Steel and ChargePoint, ticker CHPT, CHPT, Charlie Horse Papa Tango. What is hotel? Sorry. Catching downgrades here today. So, okay, that's kind of the lay of the land. Let's go over and also check out the chart. Let's take a look at some of the levels that we are at. I've got to switch my screen. I know. It's a Monday. We're still figuring out. Here we go. So let me actually see if I can center this up here. Okay, so we talked last week about really kind of feeling like the SPY was going to roll back over and retest some of those recent lows. Well, guess what? That's exactly what we got. And here we are in the pre-market. We're actually below that 551.91 level. We called it 552. That represented about the 10% pullback level. We're beneath that. So last day of the quarter here. We'll see if there's any last minute positioning. But one of the other things to keep in mind on days that we have been down in the pre-market, the market sometimes finds its footing, either in the morning or midday. We'll see how we end up closing here today. But as far as the SPY goes, we did roll back over. Thankfully, the SPXS trade that we added in small fashion and kind of held on to is now green. So remember, 666 entry on that. That's that ETF here now 750. So a little bit of gain there to kind of offset some of this. Really, though, that's not all that important. The next important spot here, do we break lower or do we bounce? And if we break lower, where is that target? Do we get all the way to the 15% pullback level at 521 and a quarter? Do we go all the way to 507.50, which is the 500-day moving average? Does it really get scary and enter bear territory down here at a 20% pullback level at 490? Or is our happy hour 40-year veteran private equity veteran going to get it right? And do we test 480? Lot to figure out here. I will say the market does kind of feel, especially recently, like it is setting up for an oversold bounce. So we'll see if we end up getting into that. Okay. I do have some of the stocks. We're going to take a look at that. We're going to go through some of the news here real quick. I definitely want to talk about CoreWeave. That's the other thing. Did any of you folks trade CoreWeave last week? I know we took a look at that, or I mentioned it on Friday. It IPO'd on Friday. Let me know if any of you traded CoreWeave. I'd like to know how that goes. And perhaps more importantly, if you have a forward-looking plan for that or thought on what CoreWeave's going to do, I'd really want to hear that as well. Okay, let's take a look at some of the news here. We're going to start with the market overview. And U.S. stocks likely to open lower after 3-day fall. Equity drawdown probably hasn't peaked yet, says a Goldman Sachs analyst. There was somebody here in the chat last week. I can't remember. There's actually a lot of great participation from our group last week. Shout out to all of you. But there was someone here in the chat last week that mentioned, I think a couple of times, that the markets rarely bottom on a Friday. And so I guess we're not really surprised to see some more red arrows here in the pre-market this morning. So whoever that was last week, I apologize for not remembering. Kudos to you, because it looked like that probably kept you safe. And if you traded off that, you probably did all right here. U.S. stock futures fell on Monday after 3 consecutive days of decline on Friday. Futures of major benchmark indices were lower in pre-market trading. Stocks decline as investors await the day of reciprocal tariffs on April 2nd. This is termed Liberation Day by the president. Goldman Sachs, in a recent note, predicted a 35% recession risk. This is up from 20%. And reciprocal tariffs that average 15% across all U.S. trading partners. Although product and country exclusions could whittle the addition of the advantage U.S. tariff rate down to 9 percentage points. Let's see there. I wanted to skip ahead here. I don't need to read. Here we go. As the date for reciprocal tariffs or Liberation Day, as termed by the president, gets closer, Louis Navellier of Navellier and Associates says that there's a lot for investors to be excited about in April. Shout out, Louie. I didn't hear many people talking about things that are exciting, unless you were on the golf course this weekend, because here in Chicago, we got 70-degree weather and it was awesome. But I digress. Quote, overall, despite continued tariff distractions after Liberation Day, I'm expecting economic optimism to rise steadily in the upcoming months. Continued strong corporate earnings and lower interest rates, our powerful 1-2 punch that is expected to dropkick and propel economic growth dramatically higher, end quote. However, Goldman Sachs has increased its recession probability from 20 to 35% in a recent note. Christian Muller-Glissman, I think I pronounced that name right. The leading asset allocation researcher at Goldman Sachs has warned that the risk of a further market correction is still looming in the U.S. Quote, the equity drawdown probably hasn't peaked yet, end quote. Now, that's something that we have been discussing in our little community here for some time. And again, my initial target was going to be around that 15%. I do think that I was saying last week, I do think we kind of break this 551. How low do we go beneath it? That is still in question to me. I'm almost wondering if this is going to be a peak below, or if we're really going to pound some of these and choke out some of the weekends that are still left. I think you can make a case for both. It looks like here, Louis Navellier saying that once we get some market certainty, tariffs or otherwise, whatever those percentage are, or whatever goods those are on, once the market actually gets some certainty, it may be able to look past that headline, that tariff headline, and trading could become better. Remember, the market really hates uncertainty more than anything else. I know it's hard to believe, but the market does hate uncertainty more than it hates tariffs. So we'll see if getting some of that certainty really kind of changes the dynamic. And then obviously Goldman here saying that our risk for recession has also increased. So good story here. There's some more. If you guys want to catch up on that, I keep saying that. If you guys and gals want to catch up on that, I will go ahead and throw that story link in the chat. You can go through it. I don't want to club you over the head with too much tariff stuff here today, but let's face it, it is the biggest thing going on in the market. And it's going to culminate here today. So we might as well be as prepared as possible for it. One more thing here. Scott Bessent has, quote, the worst job in the world today, end quote. I'll be honest with you. I can't imagine working in politics just in general. Either side, frankly. Either side, it seems like nobody's happy all of the time. I can't imagine going to work, everybody hanging on everything that you're saying and being pissed all of the time. Glad I didn't go into politics either way when I was choosing my career here. So I agree on the surface here with what he's saying. But anyway, he goes on. Black Swan author Nassim Nicholas Taleb has said that the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has the worst job in the world today because he understands the relevancy and implications of tariffs more than anybody else. According to his ex-post, Taleb has pointed out that Treasury Secretary Bessent comprehends the relevance of the protectionist policies being imposed by the current administration. Additionally, he says that any abrupt introduction of steep tariffs could lead to a cascading and generalized price action. Almost like we've been saying that too. Almost like we've been saying, yeah, that's what they're trying to do. God, that's so strange that we're hearing it from somebody else. Anyway, in general, trade barriers like import quotas and tariffs have both advantages and disadvantages. From a Keynesian perspective, tariffs can boost domestic production and employment by shifting demand towards domestically produced goods, potentially leading to a reduction in the trade deficit. Sorry, had to cough there. Didn't want to blow out anyone's eardrums here early on a Monday. However, it could be driven by political opportunism, undermine free trade principles, fuel the prices of domestic goods, reduce domestic consumption, and damage international relations. So they're giving you the pros and the cons of both. We will have to wait and see how this all shakes out. Bessent recently outlined Trump's economic plan during the latest All In podcast on March 19th. I listened to excerpts of that, but I didn't listen to the whole thing. Perhaps I should go back and do that. First, he wants to shrink government spending and its workforce. Totally understand. Second, loosen financial regulations, which Bessent called a regulatory corset. God, easy for me to say here on a Monday. Third, to get the private sector to hire back those who lost their government jobs. Okay, so he's setting the plan out there. We'll see if that plan works. We'll see if it backfires. We shall see. We shall see. Besant also expressed alignment with Elon Musk's Doge, which aims to reduce wasteful spending. With Doge, I am completely aligned with what Elon is doing. However, he acknowledged the challenge of implementing changes rapidly. He also warned, if you don't move fast, the vested interest will weigh you down. So I know that this is a big back and forth amongst people. I understand both sides of it, to be quite honest with you. And the way I would put it, I guess I'm not smart enough to know what the future is. So I'll wait and see. We'll react to it with whatever ends up happening here. Okay. Let's talk about CoreWeave here real quick. Okay. Let me go to the first story here. Let me throw it in the chat. Here we go. NVIDIA-backed CoreWeave CEO defends Microsoft OpenAI revenue concentration due to mind-bendingly large deals. As CoreWeave makes its public market debut, CEO Michael Intrator, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. I did see him on CNBC on Friday, but I didn't actually hear anything that he was saying. I saw that they were interviewing him, but I didn't hear the content of that. He pushed back on concerns over client concentration and insists that investor skepticism is missing the company's long-term value and growth potential. CoreWeave, the AI cloud by NVIDIA, officially began trading on Friday in one of the year's most anticipated IPOs. Now, I'm still anticipating the Discord IPO more than this one. Cerberus, we talked about that last week, still going through an approval process. I thought even last year, I thought both of those were going to be bigger than this one, but I shared some stats with you where it seemed like the investors, or some, not stats, but some quotes that investors not thrilled about the CoreWeave IPO. And let me know if any of you traded this on Friday. That I think is what I'm the most interested in, at least right now. Anyway, let me keep rolling through here. While the company has reported explosive 700% year-over-year revenue growth, yeah, that's eye-popping. Much of that success hinges on two major clients, Microsoft and OpenAI, the ChatGPT maker, which together account for the majority of its income. Now, we also got news that DeepSeek is actually way more efficient. In other words, it's cheaper than OpenAI. And so it's going to be interesting to see if that equation kind of balances down the road. But that was also news that we got over the weekend here. Quote, they say we had 60% of revenue from Microsoft, and then we signed a contract with OpenAI for just under $12 billion. Now we're less than 50%, he said. So they were over 60, now they're less than 50. Does that make you feel better, I guess, is the question. He said in an interview with Fortune on Friday, quote, all the big players that need this type of infrastructure, those are our customers. All the big players, those are the people we serve. Nicely done there. Intrator. God, I really hope I'm not butchering this poor guy's last name. It's not intentional. Intrator also acknowledged that the size of the deals with hyperscalers like Microsoft and OpenAI naturally skews revenue distribution. Oh, so this is all part of the process, he seems to say. Okay. When you win one of those mind-bendingly large deals, there will be concentration, he added. He also pointed out that clients such as JP Morgan and IBM and Jane Street use CoreWeave infrastructure for narrower but still valuable workloads. So again, really trying to take the onus off of this being so concentrated. I know that was something that we briefly discussed last week regarding all of that. So we'll see if that ends up making a difference here. CEO also believes that Wall Street may not fully understand CoreWeave's positioning yet. Oh, you don't say. That wouldn't be a surprise. I don't think the market has fully understood any of these AI things, but that's another story. There's a divergence between what the capital markets and what the media are thinking. And that's what I'm feeling down in the trenches, he said. What I'm feeling is relentless demand. Here we go. So taking a page here out of Jensen Huang's book, and instead of insane, using the word relentless, but basically talking about the demand again. We need more compute. We need larger compute. Well, DeepSeek's kind of saying the other thing, right? Maybe you don't, actually. And I'm wondering then if that battle back and forth is really setting up to brew here in CoreWeave with this being public now. Again, you know what? We're actually going to check on this too. Let me cue this up here, CRWV. Let me cue this up here. We'll take a look at the chart. Let me go back to the story here. Sorry about that. Okay. He also dismissed concerns about entering the market too soon. Quote, the boldness of coming to this market amid the turmoil is because of a fundamental belief that over time, I will be able to generate enormous value for my investors. Do you think that CoreWeave will over time generate? I got producer, if you don't have a poll question lined up, maybe this is what we should do. Maybe we should go the CoreWeave route. Do we think CoreWeave is going to be a big money maker down the road here? CEO seems to think that's the case. Some investors don't think that's the case. Seems like a battle is brewing here. Maybe we should go that direction. He also did, okay, price action after hours trading CoreWeave. Okay, so that was that one. And then one more here to go over. We'll take a look at the chart. I'll be brief on this one. Dan Niles, the founder and portfolio manager of Niles Investment Management, described the CoreWeave IPO as, quote, tough. End quote. One is it closed at the exact IPO price of its listing day. He said in an X post that a solid deal is one where the stock is up 15 to 30% from its IPO price on the opening day trade. According to Niles, the AI cloud infrastructure company closed its IPO price because it was backed by NVIDIA. The chipmaker, led by Jensen Huang, is a 6% investor that contributes at least 15% to CoreWeave revenue. However, Niles wasn't convinced that Microsoft, which contributes 62% to CoreWeave's revenue, did not invest $12 billion for extra capacity. What is more troubling to me is the news story that Microsoft, here we are continuing to get clubbed over the head with the 62% customer of CoreWeave, turned down a $12 billion option for more capacity. OpenAI reportedly looking at this capacity, but Microsoft generates a lot of free cash flow to fund their spending. While OpenAI loses a tremendous amount, they will need to raise capital in the future to fund their CapEx desires. He also called Alibaba Chairman Jack Ma's March 25th statement on AI spending, where he said that pouring a lot of money ahead of significant demand wasn't entirely necessary. Almost like Jack Ma kind of knew about all that. The plot thickens. Niles said that these factors, along with reciprocal tariffs on April 2nd, do not bode well for how CoreWeave is likely to trade this upcoming week on related AI names. AI CapEx spending by mid-year will be going through a digestion phase due to a slowdown in training demand. So CoreWeave, it almost seems like it was really, like the timing wasn't great, right? It almost seems like if they had come out, if they had IPO'd maybe a little bit earlier in the AP or in the AI boom cycle, it would have been pretty good. Now it seems like things are kind of tailing off. Plus, you're also dovetailing with the whole tariff thing. So be interesting to see how CoreWeave produces. Again, I'd like to know how you folks think about this. I'd like to know if you guys are trading this at all, or if you have a long-term view on CoreWeave. Now, let's go back to the actual chart itself. Here was the 5-minute chart. This is what the IPO looked like on Friday. This didn't start till the afternoon, so we were already off the air by the time this started. I didn't trade this at all. It was out there, but you could see that the initial move here, I know we popped on that initial candle, but the actual first move here was down. Got bought, actually made for a pretty deal. I mean, we had 4 points intraday on this if you were hitting it peak to trough. Again, a little bit weaker here today. One thing to keep in mind is definitely going to be this 37.50 level, 37.5, which was our intraday low from Friday. If we break that, and again, this is day 2 of trading for this stack, so we don't have a huge amount of history here. Really, the only thing I'd be looking at here, intraday bottom, intraday top. If we're able to break out from the top or break down from the bottom, we should be able to get some more mo in that direction. But we'll see here on CoreWeave. Okay. Let's take a look at some of the other stocks that you folks wanted to take a look at. Quick check here on the broader market. Let's just do that here with the SPY chart while we're at it. Quick check-in here on the market. S&P futures, or SPY here, I shouldn't say that. SPY down 1%. S&P futures are down the same amount. Dow is down 0.67%, and NASDAQ still leading the way, down 0.14% to the downside here. Okay, let's take a look. We're going to start here with Tesla. This was the first stock that you folks wanted to take a look at. Tesla here down 6% in the pre-market. You could see this moving with the rest of the market, it would appear. Tesla recently had and you know what? Again, I'm clear this drawing off, at least temporarily. Tesla recently here had a pretty good bounce. It looked like we kind of recaptured this 500-day, traded up to the 200-day, but really got rejected twice there. Now here we are, 243. Let's see, let me mark that off here. 243.30. We're basically right at we're 4 points higher than that 500-day, but that seems to be within reach here today. So let's see if this comes back in, maybe bounces off of that, maybe find some support, or do we just run right through it? This is kind of what I'm going to be looking for here in Tesla. One of the other things we'll be tracking in Tesla here is going to be some of the unusual option activity flow. That's been great recently. There was a ton of both puts and calls here recently. So we'll take a look at that flow as well. We do seem to be at a support area in here, and this area is pretty big. I would even call this maybe 200 up to this 230-ish. I think it's going to take quite a bit to break through that to the downside. So again, I am kind of expecting, even if we do break beneath this 500, I do kind of expect Tesla to bottom out here right around that. We'll see what point that bottoms out at. Tesla down 6% here. So those of you that don't like Elon, this is probably a pretty good morning here. The stock getting slammed here this morning. Also, if you traded this last week, looking pretty good here. Initially, we look at this initially here. I don't have it here in this chart. We did try to trade up a little bit on Tesla, the pre-market, but did not hold. So Tesla, those are the levels that I'd be looking for. Really, this 243.30 level going to be the biggest one for me. If we do trade up today, that 20-day moving average right there, 253.80. 253.80. Okay. Tom, Lion, good morning. Captain Obvious, good morning. Yassine, good morning. Kathy, good morning. Who else did I miss here? Amoris, good morning. Christoph, Imp Man, Reaching Financial Freedom, Gatekeeper, boom, boom, boom. White Chocolate Mocha. Charles. Okay, and you want to take a look at Meta and Apple? Yeah, so we basically want to look at the Mag 7 is what it looks like what the group wants to do here today. Meta, let me add Meta and Apple. I cannot type at all. I cannot type at all today. Rough Monday morning here for me, typing wise, that's for sure. All right, that's Tesla. Let's move over to NVIDIA here. And actually, I'm going to turn the drawings back on because it's going to be really important for NVIDIA here. So, okay, we've been looking at this one, and nothing has really changed here, right? It's definitely kind of been bouncing back and forth, but it's really done a great job staying in this channel, and we're still in the exact same channel. Now we're kind of rolling over. I still have the same target I had last week. Nothing has changed. This $99, 98 to 99 or 100 here, basically whatever number lines up with the bottom edge of this channel, whenever day we get down there, that's what I'm looking at. So I've got this here, 98-ish to 99 is going to be that support level there. I know it's so close to 100. Maybe we do get a bounce off the round 100 number. But again, these are approaching support levels. And part of the other thing, part of me is wondering, I don't know if this is going to happen, and I certainly haven't positioned for this yet, so I'm just kind of spitballing here, but part of me is wondering how many of these stocks are really going to be set up at the end of today, going into, or the end of today and the end of tomorrow. Let's say that the first 2 days here, going into the morning of April 2nd, how many of these stocks are going to be set up at a support level? Because I think that the trading that day is going to be, or has the potential, I should say, has the potential to be fairly wild, right? If you got stocks that are at support levels and you've got this binary event that's either going to be really bad or really good, that could be wild. So anyway, we'll see how this goes. We'll see where these stocks end up. I'm excited. But we'll see. We'll see how they end up here. 105 on NVIDIA here. Looks like this is going to roll over. We're down, what, just about 4%. So this is a little bit better in the pre-market here than Tesla. Again, though, where I'm kind of looking at this, 98 to 99, probably the next spot where this sets up for a bounce. Okay. And we can come back to these throughout the course of the day. So if I missed something on this, or if you want to look at it again, no problem, especially with some of these bigger stocks. These are probably going to be the ones in focus, to be quite honest with you. Let's keep rolling here. Hood is going to be next, HOOD. We are sub 40. And to me, it sure looks like we're coming back to the 200-day here. This action, I've actually kind of changed. So, okay, price action is going to be separate. So I've actually kind of changed my tune here on Hood a little bit. I know when they first came out, they were dealing with problems and decisions that just didn't make any sense. However, it does seem like they're really trying to expand their portfolio of products. I have noticed, and this is completely anecdotal, so if you folks can straighten me out on this one, but I have noticed less complaints overall from Hood account users. I know there's still this one-off. I know there's still edge cases. I mean, every broker runs into its problems at some point. So I'm not trying to minimize that or anything like that, but it does seem like things are getting better there. It does seem like they're offering more and more products, not just market-related products, also kind of dipping the toe into gambling. So I do think that this is kind of turning around, or opening itself up to more markets, but I'm not sure that the trade. I don't think that a long trade here is. I don't think we're ready yet for a long trade. I think if this continues to come in with the market, long trade's not going to make any sense. Your longs are just going to get destroyed. Does look like this 35.70 area, which was the recent low that we bounced from, looks like we're approaching that pretty quickly. I actually think maybe we could get to that here today. This is down 6%, so it's down $2.50 already. Maybe not. It's already down quite a bit. And I think that, so 35.70 and then 32.75, 32 and 3/4. These are going to be your next support levels here. Again, with some of these valuations being a little high, would love for this stuff to come back into the 200-day. I don't think that's bad at all. I think that's actually better long term. If a lot of these come in, maybe even peek through their 200-day, I think there's going to be a huge trade here coming on Hood. I just don't think it. I don't know that it's happening here yet. The other thing to keep in mind here, we're looking back to October. I guess if I back this out a little bit more, that kind of changes things. But if we look back to the end of last year, we're at the big volume shelf here, right? Volume point of controls from the consolidation area for pretty much the month of December and half of January before this thing really ripped. We're at that spot here. So we'll see if this maybe trades sideways. Maybe you can almost kind of like have a head and shoulders look there on the chart. We'll see how it shakes out on here. Basically, I think there's going to be a good long side trade in Hood. I just don't think that setup is yet. But we'll keep an eye here on Hood. Okay, RCAT. This is a show favorite. RCAT here, scheduled to release the earnings after market here today. The conference call does start at 4:30. You can see where RCAT is. We did have the head and shoulders on RCAT. I believe personally that this is completely played out. Right? We did break down. We moved lower. We moved right to the 200-day. We had multiple tests here with the 200-day. We've done a really good job, frankly, over the last, this goes back to middle of March, beginning of March. Spent most of March here doing a really good job defending the 200-day and not really breaking beneath it. Remember, drones as a theme has really kind of been slammed lately. So to be able to hold on to one of these support levels seems to be pretty good. We'll see what the earnings report brings here. Stock is down 5.5% here, about in the pre-market. That looks to be pretty much with just everything else going on around here. And I don't have I don't necessarily have a thought on whether or not they're going to beat here. I would imagine that whatever number that they put up, it's not going to be a great number, but I don't really think that matters yet. How this thing trades after the print is gonna really determine where we go here. I think there is a substantial risk that we break this 200-day. If the fear and just the unwillingness to hold small caps into, this kind of binary event here, I think that this could actually move to the south now we'll see if we get that. Maybe they put up a really good number. Maybe it surprises everybody. Maybe it pops into that 7 handle. We'll see. I have no read on our cat. I won't be trading this for earnings. I am kind of curious to see what they say here, because I think we might be able to discern future or what the stock could look like here in the future. So I'm interested in what they say here, but with no position, this is not going to be one of my top follows. Buffalo by Bicycle regarding Hood saying they lost me when they restricted traders. I totally understand that, and I'm not going to fight you on that. What I said at the time was, man, oh man, if I had an account and I couldn't close a position because the account holder just determined that I couldn't do that, I would be extremely mad, to the point where I would cancel my account. So Buffalo by Bicycle, I am not going to fault you for that at all. But what I will say is that it does seem to have gotten a lot better since then. Okay. RCAT, let's take a look at PanW here. What time is it? Oh, we got oceans of time. We got oceans of time here, folks. And so far, the futures seem to be holding at the same area from when we got on. I guess they're technically up a little bit from when we got on, but they're basically holding there. They're not breaking down any further as we get closer to the open. So we'll see. Okay, PanW here, best in breed for cybersecurity. Definitely kind of waiting that out. I'm taking a page out of Mark Petrino's book here. If you recall, the last 2 weeks, one of the things that Mark has been saying is that, first of all, it's okay to not nail the bottom. Some of you folks are extremely good at nailing the actual dead bottom or the actual dead top when you're trading. Teach me your ways, sorcerer or sorceresses, because never really been good at that. With that being said, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to wait for some of these stocks to confirm that they're actually good buys, as opposed to just kind of front running it. Now, the longer the time horizon, the less important that is. But given the environment that we're in, I'm just going to remain as cautious as possible. Now, PanW here, if you take a look at this, I mean, the last time that we were under the 200-day for any substantial amount of time, let's see, we broke under the 200-day right about here, September of 2022. And we stayed under the 200-day. In fact, we used it as resistance until February of 2023. So about a 5-month period there where we were under the 200-day. And then since we recaptured that, what a run this stock has gone on. We recaptured it here in February of 2023. We back tested it several days later. The stock was $83 back then. Stock is $169, and it's actually down from a high here of 208. So that 200-day has been a very, very key spot. You'll notice we've actually broken beneath that now. I do think we have another support area here at about 166, and let's call it 166 and a half. It's another 3 points from where we're at. So we'll see if it bounces there. We have a pretty good volume shelf in there as well. And then if we break down through that, I'd love to see it get to the 500. I don't know if it will. So looking at this here, I think a break into the mid 160s might be a good area for that. But again, I kind of want to wait for this to confirm. So I want to wait for this to either really kind of turn back, that the next move here, the next momentum moves to the upside, or maybe even recapture that. Now, I don't think we're going to do that here in short order. 1, 2, today sure looks to be the third close under that 200-day. I would expect this to then kind of firm up in terms of its resistance. It'll probably be a little bit harder to get through this 200-day to the upside when we are ready to do that. PanW here, no longer term position. I'm definitely stocking this one. This one at the top of the list. Someone else here said, get your list out, or start to get your lists out here in case the market does continue to move down. PanW near the top of my list of stocks to add. Okay, near the top of my list. Okay, let me make sure we're still good here. Meta. Let's take a look at Meta. All right. Is today the day? Is today the day? Did anyone else mention Meta here? Let me just take a really quick I know someone asked us to put this on the list here. Okay. No, I guess it was just that. I guess it was just the one. So today is the day. Do we actually close? Do we lose the 200-day and close beneath it? Here we are in the pre-market. Meta's down 2% at 565. The 200-day is at 576. So we are 11 points under the 200-day in the pre-market here. This would have to show some considerable strength in order to kind of firm up and close above that 200-day. I'm not sure if we get that. Remember, of the Mag 7s, this was the last one to be above the 200-day. And the last time that this thing was under the 200-day was January of 2023. What a tremendous, tremendous run we've been since we crossed above this average. Now, same deal here as in PanW, which we just took a look at. How many closes are we going to get beneath this 200-day? If I had to pick today, right now, if you sat me down right now and you said, Ryan, you have pick one, I would say, yes, I do think that this puts its first close under the 200-day today. But given what we're seeing this week, remember, if the market trades up because some of that uncertainty is removed, could Meta recapture its 200-day in fairly short order and get less than those 3 closes below the 200-day? Sure, it could. But again, just kind of going back to trades triggering, we'll wait that out. No sense in being a hero here, especially on a really important stock with Meta. If you do want to be a little bit more aggressive or you do want to play the hero card here, I would really, the only advice that I would give you, plan out your downside for your max pain and don't change that, right? Your first stop is your best stop. Your first stop is your best stop. Not sure how great I feel about some of these tech stocks, even Meta. Even the last one here to lose its 200-day. And then we'll round this out here with Apple, which is the last stock that you folks want to take a look at. Then we'll say good morning to 13 and check in on him. Here's Apple. You can see, bang, big move right through the 200-day. We did try to get back to it, but the 20-day was our resistance. We were unable to get above the 20-day with the broader market here. Apple also weak here in the pre-market, only down 0.5%. Apple's still very clearly the safety trade when it comes to some of these tech names, no matter what the catalyst is, whether it's tariffs, whether it's DeepSeek, whether it's any of these other catalysts that bring the market down. Apple seems to outperform. It never seems to be down as much as some of those other stocks. I still feel like this is more of a safety trade in this area. I know everyone hates the innovation here, but story's still pretty good. Stock behaves pretty well. Wouldn't be surprised, though, if this continues, wouldn't be surprised to really kind of roll over and challenge this 210 again. The actual low that we had, 208.42. So maybe mark that level off if that's the specific level that we want to look for if this continues to roll over. And then we also have that 500-day down there at $200. Easy for me to say. I think if Apple gets down to that 500-day, it's probably okay to take a stab at it long. Again, we'll reassess when we get there. I don't think that's in play here today. We do have the death cross. Thank you, Hans. We do have the death cross incoming. So I suspect that might be the catalyst that we need to take us to the 200-day. My God, how many times am I going to screw this up this morning? That might be the catalyst to take us down to the 500-day at $200. We'll see if we find some support there. Apple death cross incoming. Doesn't look like today. Maybe even tomorrow will be the first day of that. All right. That's impressive. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got through 7 stocks and the news, and nobody killed each other this morning. I'm going to chalk that up as a win, folks. Now we're going to chalk up we're going to put another win on the board. We're going to bring 13 in here. 13, happy Monday morning, my man. How was your weekend?
Oh, it was fine. Had a great time. I got the house to myself. So I just spent a lot of time, getting stuff done and then relaxing. So good times. Got a lot of stuff done. Ready to rock here this morning.
Ready to rock. House to yourself. You seem like you got some pep in your step.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay. Well, what do you want to do? I didn't see a whole lot of movers, but we can do whatever it is that you want. If there's any stories that you want to talk about, news, stocks, whatever.
Yeah, let's get some of these movers out of the way because the list for me is also pretty short. Did spend some time looking at a couple of them, but just wanted to see which ones look good and which ones were just box jobs. So let's get down to it. Like the first one, Court Therapeutics. This is funny because I traded this one a long time ago, and I didn't realize this was still around. But apparently, they've been doing pretty well. Let me just pull this one up. They had their phase 3 results for their Rosella drug, and they are going to submit a NDA, which is a new drug approval, in the third quarter. So that's going to be coming up next. This company, I don't know how this company got so strong, because this used to, that's my trade. This was like a penny stock. But apparently this company has a lot of cash, has revenue. The float is a little thick at 75 million shares, a little bit more than 75 million shares. The real interesting thing that I saw about this, and I think it was pointed out earlier in the chat, I believe by Jonathan, was the short interest. Very high short interest. The last read that I have is 21.67% of the float shorted with 12.6 days to cover. That is a short squeeze candidate, folks. That means this movement that we're getting here today is likely from that short squeeze. You can see that since we got this phase 3 data, we have almost 2x, doubled the price of the stock. So this could be one that could continue to move. I feel like after this move that we've had here in the morning, though, this thing does need to cool off a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if this came in before it tried to go and make the next move higher, if it even does that at all. So for now, CORT, this is going to be one that is kind of on fire right now, but has seemed to have topped out. As long as it holds above the VWAP, that's going to be fine. But like I said just a moment ago, I think this is going to trend lower a little bit. We have the MACD starting to curl. It's kind of topped out here for the past 20, 30 minutes. If it gets over that 109 and 51 cent high that it made up to 110, let's just see where this thing goes. But for now, I think this thing needs to come back in some more.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, it's very difficult. I mean, the stock is up 94% here. I mean, 94%. Jonathan here, pretty good stat. Court added $5 billion in value on 50 million volume. I was actually looking at some of the volume here this morning. Just crazy. I don't even think we've had. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, we just this morning we've had 1.13 million shares traded on that. So, okay, this thing, huge, was not on my radar at all. Not familiar with the drug at all. I'd probably just kind of stay away from this one. Not really sure how to trade this. Maybe this pulls back and firms up and gives us some type of like technical bounce here today. We'll see.
Yeah, so that's in the oncology space, and it's funny because I think the next one you're going to bring up is probably going to be CTOR. So it's Oncology Anagrams Day. And
oncology anagrams, let's go.
So
anything we can do to come up with a theme here.
With the thing with this one is interesting because it looks like this is moving on no news, and that's what I thought too at first. I looked around and see if there's any relevant volume. Nope, nothing. I was determined to find out if there was something this was moving on, and I think I may have found it. If you scroll down to February 6th on the news feed, and you click that 8:55 in the morning headline, I think there's your answer.
Limfir is approved by the Food and Drug Administration, and it's expected to be effective on April 1st.
Yes, that's what I think this is running on. So this is like getting going here. So we should you have to read into this some more to understand what the J code is and why this is important. But apparently, this is what the healthcare common procedure coding system is going to be. This is going to be used by Centers for Medical and Medicaid Services. So tomorrow we might get some more news on this. So this is just something that I don't know that how well this will trade today, because I think the big move could be coming tomorrow with this, with the April 1st effective date. So that's really all I've could find for CTOR and why we might be getting some movements, because you have this effective date tomorrow. It does have 5.5 million shares. I don't think I really saw anything with the income or the balance sheet that I could get a good read on. It doesn't have a whole lot of data there. But I think we could see some more movement tomorrow. As far as this is the way it's just trading right now, let's see CTOR. Beneath its VWAP, the big move already came in the morning in the early pre-market. This would have to start to turn around here. It looks like it's still trending lower. It might find support at $1, but being so close to $1, I would just be careful with this, maybe even not trade it until it looks like it's starting to move away from $1 and toward the upside. Like I said, though, I think the news may be more relevant tomorrow once it's been made more aware that the effective date for their J code.
So are you front running this into tomorrow, or are you just kind of saying taking a wait and see approach with this one?
I think the front running is what we got in the pre-market.
Gotcha.
I don't want
okay.
I don't want
I got
I don't want to touch this one right now.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Okay, just wanted to make sure there. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Good stuff too. Good stuff and covering that from a former PR. I'll tell you what, that just shows that you're out there reading 13. We'll take that.
I can read.
Okay, it's a good start to the Monday there. Okay, Dom H here. Someone was Cyril. Was this you mentioning this one? I can't remember. But I think you were saying that this one is going to run here today. Dom H. This is Dominant Holdings, or Dominari Holdings, excuse me. This has been on the list recently. It's up 18+% here. You see, we did trade right into that 645. This was the high from what day was this? Tuesday of last week. So I know we moved pretty huge on Monday. We actually popped on Tuesday. We've given some of that back, but we are trying that same area here. 650 to the upside certainly seems to be in play here. Quick look around the horn. 3.23% of the float shorted here on this one with 1 day to cover. And you've got a float here of 8.7 million shares. The PR from this morning, Dominari Holdings Investment, American Data Centers. Dominari Holdings Investment. American Data Centers becomes American Bitcoin in transformative Bitcoin mining deal with XIII. Okay. Dominari or these PRs here. This is related to multiple stocks. Sorry about that. Dominari Holdings executing an expansion strategy with an investment and an industrial scale. 13. What do you think on this one? I know when was the last time? Let me take a look here at the chart. Feel like there was something here with there we go. Let's go back to
like we traded this before or something.
Yeah, we definitely did. It was going to be right in here, right? Yeah, February 20th. I was just trying to get the day there. February 24th. Let's see what we had in here. This is what it was. Dominari Holding surges after Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump become investors. So that was back in the end of February. Now you're getting a PR here today about an expansion strategy that is Bitcoin related. 13, what do you make of this one? Ticker DOMH, popping right up to that 650 resistance area.
Unfortunately, I didn't dive too deep into this one, but all the information you want to know about why this is moving is going to be stuffed into their Form 8K that they submitted this morning. So basically what it comes down to is that American Bitcoin is a subsidiary of XIII. They did an offering as well. The warrants are priced or exercisable at I believe it's $450. They have 8.7 million shares in the float. They did have some interesting short report that came out. Let me see here. There was multiple short reports for this one. J Capital on March 5th. There was another one. I believe that may have been
J Capital. That one doesn't sound familiar.
I thought there was another one that I saw here, but anyway, they had a short report. They've also had to delay their filing, so that was not good. That happened early last week when they had to delay their filing. So I think that's what you're also seeing here is just a rebound off that because they did file their 8K. But that's really all I've got on DOMH. I didn't dive too deep into this one like I did the others, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. DOMH. Next one here is going to be OSG. Or QSG. Excuse OSG. QSG. This is the second time I've made that mistake here this morning. QSG, this one did have some news here. So this popped above 5. It's really kind of come back in. We actually lost the VWAP here. No, I didn't. Excuse me. Oh, wow. This news was, I beg your pardon. This was from last Monday. So looks like it's moving here on no news. Short interest here, 0.16% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover or less than that, frankly. And float here, 15.7 million. 13, did you have anything on this one? QSG, Quantasing?
No, I didn't. And I think what you're referring to as far as the news goes was last week or from last Monday with the expansion into pop toys. I
Yep.
believe that's what you're referring to. Yeah. So that news a week old. Not the reason it's moving today. Why it's moving today, I think, has more to do with the relative volume than anything else. We've been seeing over like on Thursday and Friday, volume was starting to ramp up. So that would be the reason I would think this is moving. I didn't see any news that would explain the movement otherwise. 15 million shares in the float, almost 16 million. As far as the financials go, company has revenue. Looks like they pull in quite a bit, and their balance sheet looks pretty good. So no risk of an offering here, as far as I can tell. So yeah, I don't have more than that. Let's see what the chart.
We're just trying to piece it together. That's okay, man. I wasn't trying to put you on the spot, but
No problem.
QSG, we'll see if we get another trade here on this.
Trading beneath its VWAP, looking like it could go lower. This might be another one to wait for it to see what it does out of the open. It might just trend a little bit lower at first before it finds support. The next support I think that we might get if it does go lower out of the open is going to be around 375.
Okay, and by the way, real quick, I was just checking in here while you were mentioning that S&P futures have ticked up again off of the lows. We're actually back to VWAP on the futures. S&P futures down 0.84%.
So what do you think with this rebound here? Do you think that we're putting in the bottom for the day, or do you think that we are just filling the gap that we are going to apparently make with this open if we don't fill it in the pre-market? Do you think we just fill the gap and then turn around?
So are you just asking me about the broader market here, basically just asking me about the SPY?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a really good question. If I were to read the news, I would think that the market's last days are upon us. I would think that we are pretty much done. We might as well wrap the country up. We're done. Now, I'm not, of course, doing that. I actually enjoyed my weekend. I was grounding quite a bit. I got some vitamin D. I touched grass. I didn't worry at all about that. So I have a little bit of a different perspective here. I wouldn't be shocked if if our first move here out of the open was down. I wouldn't be shocked if we had a capitulatory move down here today. What do I think about this gap? No, I don't think we're just testing 10% just to dead cat from there. I actually think that we probably want to breach this level, set a lower low, and I'm not even sure that would be the low yet. Like, let's say we move down here 542-ish, right, over the next day or two here, and then we bounce back and we recapture this 10% level. Even at that point, I don't necessarily think that we're done. However, I think that you weren't here, but I went over I went over a quote from Louis Navellier earlier today, and I happened to be in his camp. I suspect that once the market has some of the uncertainty past it with the tariff day, liberation day, whatever you want to call it, on April 2nd, I think the market's going to trade better, because I think even with tariffs applied, the market knows how to deal with that. It's dealt with that before. It's going to deal with that again. I think companies are going to be able to do the same thing. I think one of the things that you're seeing right now is you're just seeing a lot of the uncertainty really kind of shake some people out. Mm-hmm. So 13, you're asking me, do we bottom here today? Could we? Sure. Could we really sell off today and tomorrow? Yeah, that seems pretty likely as well. So I don't really know how to answer your question. I'm basically just trying to get to Wednesday here, because on Wednesday I'll be able to take a look at the news that we see, take a look at the levels, and come up with a little bit more for you. I personally, if the market said, Ryan, what would you like to do? I'd have it break 550, come in a little bit more, and set us up for Wednesday.
Yeah, my question was more about if we're going to fill this gap that we're going to create here. Because we're gapping down from the close on Friday.
Okay.
So what my question was more about: are we going to fill this gap?
Fill this to the upside,
turn around, and then we're going to fill the gap to the upside, and then turn around. Or do we just open and go lower?
I'm sorry, 13. That's completely my bad. I thought you were talking about coming back in here to the 10% level.
Okay. Oh no, I think that's going to happen, and we're going to go lower. My thought is, like, does that happen out of the gate? Do we just start falling further out of the gate and have a gap, or do we open Do we trade up, fill that gap first, and then go lower?
Okay. That's a really good call. I could see that too. My vote for the first move out of the open here is a down move.
Okay.
I suspect some of the selling and some of the fear and some of the, oh my God, everything is over is going to materialize here in a move down right out of the open.
All right. Gotcha. And I love some of these comments here. We're going to 440. NVIDIA is going out of business because we're all pointing at the charts. Yes, I also saw that MLGO was up, so we could maybe see some.
Actually, you want to take a look at that?
Sure, why not? Let's look at this funny thing.
So this is, I guess we should call this an ex-girlfriend from last week.
Oh, it's a crazy ex-girlfriend.
Okay. You just have to turn the heat up on it. This did pop here in the pre-market, but I think the big takeaway is that while it popped initially, it really did not have the strength to move above its VWAP and hold there. Mm-hmm. And so to me, I mean, maybe this gets rolling here again. I don't know. I'm going to avoid this one here today completely. I'm not even interested in this at this point.
Yeah, just everybody that is, itching to trade this thing, just understand the risks when, with getting into this. We've had this one, knife on a lot of people before. And I mean, look what it did in the pre-market. I'm sure there's some people still stuck at 22. So when it comes to this one, I think what I'm going to be watching for here is, whether it recaptures VWAP, which it's trying to get, trying to recapture since it had that pop to 22, hasn't been successful with that. And I'm going to be watching the 65 EMA because that has been support this morning. So that's going to be around 1850, that particular level along with the 65 EMA. So we lose 1850 in the 65 EMA. Yeah, I think we're going to go down to 1750 and lower, maybe lower. We break out of VWAP, we could see some more wild price action I've gotten in them.
I mean, frankly, I think if you're able to break out of VWAP here, especially if you're able to do that on volume. I mean, if we cross through VWAP and the volume's pretty pitiful, especially compared to Friday, I don't know if I'd put too much into that. But if you break VWAP here on volume, this thing has been crazy enough. I would not even be shocked if you tested the high. I know this thing printed all the way up to 22, but I wouldn't be surprised if this thing tried 21 and a half, 22 on a huge move. It's crazy. If you get it, catch it, make sure you pay yourself. I'll probably avoid this one.
Just please understand the risk that you are getting yourself into trading this. Just anybody that's interested in doing it, just understand that.
Oh yeah.
That's all.
Okay. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Savage Trades. STFU, Sorrel, Gary, Zippity. Who else did I miss here? Ed, EB. I think I got all you guys. James, Paul. Paul here, I was talking about, I know, sorry, Paul, I didn't highlight this comment earlier when I was talking about PanW. I was just rolling at the time. PanW had a good, I'm actually going to put this chart on the screen while I read this out here real quick. PanW had a good double top. And if the market does continue to the downside longer term, then I can see PanW going down to 130 or 120. Paul, I believe this is the double top that you were talking about right in here, the one from December and then also February of this year. I would totally agree with you. So your price target here, 120, 130. Boy, that's down here to here. I see where you get those numbers. That does make a lot of sense. I would be very surprised if it pulled much past the 500. But again, your guess is as good as mine. I see where you're getting those levels. The chart is pointing to those levels. So well done. We'll see if we get down there.
I like.
And one more. Sorry, 13. One more thing, just because I have a different view on some of the numbers. If I took a stab at the stock, options are a completely different story. But if I took a stab at the stock at 150 and then the stock did move to 130, I'd consider adding. I wouldn't necessarily run from that. I'd consider adding on that. Oh, okay, 13. I'm sorry, man.
No worries. I mean, yeah, this one, I agree with everything that both you and he are saying. I mean, I like the consolidation down at where his levels are, the 120 to 130 area. I see that. Your 500-day SMA, see that has potential support level as well. I'll just take the middle and just go 140 as the support area, 135 to 140. Probably not going to happen. But first thing I want to see here with this one is I want to see a third close beneath the 200-day SMA. That would be today's.
Yep.
So whatever happens today, I think that's going to tell you whether or not this goes higher or lower. And I think it's looking like, unless we recapture that 200-day SMA, we're going lower.
Yeah, and that's what we said earlier here on PanW. I'm in complete agreement with you. 13, complete agreement. Jonathan is mentioning Mullen in the chat. I'll let you guys.
It wouldn't be a pre-market playbook without it.
It would not be a day if Mullen was not discussed in one way or another.
Oh, look at this thing go.
And then also real quickly here, we'll talk about app. I know there's been a number of folks trading this one. We've talked about this one in the happy hour a few times here. App loving down another 6%. I think this is pretty much just with the market. This has had multiple short reports recently. This has been a tough one. App has been a tough one for the long side trade. Good. What happened here? Okay, well, apparently I just screwed everything up. Let me try. I just had the chart. We were just looking at it.
MLGO lost to 65 EMA, so this is looking weaker now. Maybe they're all moving over to Mullen. Right now, you're getting some support around 15 cents with Mullen after this break away from 11 cents. Big moves, guys. So if this continues to consolidate here, it'll probably end up going higher eventually. Looking at 18 cent, the 19 cent area as the next resistance.
The point that I was trying to make with app earlier before I started fighting with technology that's sitting in front of me. You gotta love that on a Monday. Stock is moving lower here with the market, but it does look like it's not like completely breaking down here in the pre-market. It does look like it's holding there. So maybe this is the bounce day if things turn around. Anyway, all right, let's see.
It's going to be a wild show. It's going to be a fun show. I can't wait.
Yeah, it is going to be fun. I'm actually excited for this week, right?
Oh, yeah.
My big thing here is, like I've kind of already mentioned a few times, I just like to get the uncertainty out of the way. Maybe I'm also excited because I golfed twice over the weekend for the first time since last year. Maybe that's playing into it, but you know what? I'll take that too.
Oh, thanks, Jonathan Cooper, for the info there. It's that's why Mullen's moving.
I mean, is it legitimate? Is it worth looking into?
Well, I mean, it's dismissal of
in a landmark decision, Mullen defeats defendant's motion to dismiss in its entirety, allowing the federal spoofing lawsuit to combat artificially deflated stock prices to proceed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is not a catalyst that would make me trade the stock. If you do, you, boo, and make sure you pay yourself.
I'm sure it has a lot to do with the short interest.
Yeah,
which is substantially high.
Which is fine. But you know what else I'm sure of? This is a scam. Be careful.
Well, okay, yes, you're right.
I mean, good Lord. Like it is.
I'm just only pointing out why it's moving. And, you have the short interest combined with this news headline. This thing's going to take off because, you have a short interest that high. You could say the CEO could pick a penny up off the ground and this thing will run.
Actually, that'd be something else, wouldn't it? That would be something else. Ryan Couch. I wonder if this is a troll name for me or if you have that name for something else. Nonetheless, let's take a look. CDT ? No other context at all. CDT, this is a former penny stock. Looks like this did trade up here in the after hours or on Friday. What happened on this one?
It's on the movers list this morning.
So there's a PR from...
Yeah, I got a patent approval.
Okay, so Form 10 and a patent approval for autoimmune diseases. Mm-hmm. What are we at here? Pre-revenue, probably loaded with that. 5.83 million, high short interest, but only 1 day to cover.
Yeah.
Ryan Couch, I don't know that I'm going to trade this one. It is moving on that patent news. It is actually having a decent morning, I guess. Backdrop against the rest of the stocks here. I suppose you could really kind of watch that pre-market high here, 117. I'll pass on this one, though. I don't need any. Look, I know we're talking about day trading here, but I'm not sure I really even need to start buying any of these pre-revenue companies. If we really do think the market is going to move lower here in recession and all that, pre-revenue companies not where I would want to be.
You have a consolidation from about $1 to 110 that it's trying to move its, to make its way back through, and it's, in addition to getting above the VWAP. It might be too bit of a tall order to ask traders to get it that high. It looks like it's really struggling with the VWAP right now. So to me, this thing looks like it may end up going lower into the open. So I'd be careful with this one. I don't have a whole lot other than that. But if we start going underneath the dollar, I think the shorts are really going to start to pile in.
Okay. All right. I'm pretty sure that I hit everything that y'all folks wanted to look at. 13. Do you have any stocks that I guess Svarcy Marcy and Vader was framed. that is never going to make me not laugh, by the way. You've done a really good job selecting your handle there. Wanted to take a look at a couple of the quantum names. I guess we can do that real quick. But if there's any other stocks, we got plenty of time here. Got about 15 minutes till we open. We can take a look at pretty much any of the stocks that you want here. Here's your quantum names. Again, looks like it's moving down with the rest of the market. D-Wave, ticker QBTS, down 5.5% here, although it is up off of the lows. Market is also up off of the lows. So if the pre-market is any indication, it's looking like it's trying here to bounce. We'll see if it's able to do that. Say that again.
It also has news.
Here you go. D-Wave Quantum, Monday. Let's see. Japan Tobacco and D-Wave announced quantum proof of concept outperforms classical results for large language model training and drug discovery. Ford Otesion deploys vehicle manufacturing application built with D-Wave technology. And D-Wave highlights quantum optimization customer growth and introduces an expanded offering to accelerate adoption and deployment. Okay, so those three PRs look like they're trying to combat the overall notion that quantum computing is far off. That's my initial read without going through any of these. These PRs look like this should be good news. Stock is still getting pounded here. I've got to think that's with the broader market. Do you make anything of this?
Without financial figures, I don't think that this is going to really move. Like I think to your point, it's not going to really move the stock a whole lot.
Yeah.
Not the right theme right now with the market being down like it is. Great news for the company. It's good to see that we're actually getting some productivity out of quantum computing. But without any financial figures attached to this to see how much they're making off of this, it's not. I don't think it's going to move the needle that much. It could, okay, but I don't think that's what we're seeing here. Has a pretty good short interest as well, but let's just let the market improve. Like let's let that breadth come back to where the risk is back on, because right now it doesn't seem like that's the case.
Okay, that's QBTS. Let's take a look here at IONQ.
Oh, thank you, STFU.
The CDT news. 3 times CDT announced patient granted in July and November of 2024. Both of those dates in 2024. Yep.
Yeah, patent. Yeah.
Did I say patient? I'm sorry.
No worries.
I'm struggling this morning. I will say I actually feel great, but I'm struggling to read things correctly here. I don't know what that says.
You're excited for this market to open and tank.
I mean,
so am I.
No, I mean, kind of, but not really. I mean, I'm excited for some more clarity. I'll be honest with you guys, though. I got a confession to make. I'm just excited about golfing. We got the Masters coming up. We got April. It's spring. Like, things are starting to change around here. Like, I am excited for the change of the seasons here that happens to coincide with golf. And I just played a lot this weekend and I feel high from it. So that's what I'm excited about. Sorry for the letdown there.
Nah, it's okay. We know you got golf on the brain, man. You're excited. You're going to, every time I count from 3 to 4, you're going to be 4. It's going to be all in your head all day.
I am pleased to announce that despite the rust, I was at no risk of hitting another person this weekend. I didn't actually have to yell that. Okay, back down to brass tacks here. IONQ, this is another one that you folks wanted to take a look at in the quantum computing space. You know, one of the things last week that was interesting about this is that Sylvia Jablonski, who appears on CNBC regularly, actually said that she liked IONQ and Rigetti in the quantum space. Stocks have moved down. I think that was just more poor timing than anything else. I don't really think that's her fault, but I was surprised. I was surprised to hear that those 2 stocks were on the list. Now, on Friday, there was traders circulating popular newsletter mentioned on IONQ. So that happened on Friday. I didn't trade off that at all. This morning, Benchmark reiterated a buy and maintained a $45 price target. That's notable because the price is $21. It's literally cut in half from that, more. So notable price target there from Benchmark. Again, I don't know that there's necessarily a trade here today, but this stuff seems to be moving with the broader market here. And are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, I don't know. There we go. A little bit of a delay there in the chart. I couldn't tell. Everything was black. Couldn't hear anything. Didn't know if it was my internet or not. Oh, by the way, here IONQ, the 20-day or the 200-day moving average is down here at 20.55. The current price is 21.47. What else do you want to take a look at?
I like the quantum names too. Just not today.
Mark is asking here. Mark, good morning, by the way, from our Twitter viewership. What is the yellow and light blue indicator on the right-hand side next to the price action called? Thank you. Mark, you're very welcome. This indicator right here that you're referring to is called volume profile visible range. So if you have Pro, probably works the same in any other charting software that you have, or anything that's trading view based. You click on indicators and you type in volume profile, you'll see you have visible range and fixed range. This one is volume profile visible range. Sometimes this is abbreviated as VPVR, as it is here in the upper left corner of the chart. Good question though, Mark. Good question.
I think you have what, yellow for the buying volume and blue for the selling, or what is that?
Say again?
You have the yellow for the buying volume and the blue for the selling volume?
Yeah, I actually made no changes to this. I made no changes to this at all. So volume area up is blue, volume area down is yellow. That, again, this is the factory setting. So I made no changes.
Okay.
Good question, though.
Just to get the colors taken care of.
There you go. Okay. ATL Russ, good morning, Russ. Great to see you. Come to Georgia for the Masters, Ryan. ATL Russ, let me just throw this out there. I generally don't do this. I generally don't ask this of the chat, but since you brought it up, boss, guess what? I'm going to ask. If you have a hookup to the Masters, please email me today and let's work something out. Because every year I enter the lottery to try to go see it. Believe me, Russ, if I could go, I'd be there. I would be there. 13's sitting over there like, no, please don't take time off. No, that's next week, man. No. Believe me, if you have a hookup and you think you can get me in there, you call me, boss. I will definitely try that. I would absolutely love that. Okay, Rustam, love that you're here. We'll take a look here at NEO just so you're okay. NEO, things are rough for NEO. We've talked about this recently. I know that this recently traded above its 200-day. That was very, very short-lived. We've continued to break away here. NEO down to 368. We've actually broken a lot of the support areas. We're pretty much at the last stand, right? This is Custard's last stand for NEO before we probably go to penny stock territory here. I will say Williams %R at oversold, RSI approaching oversold, so maybe this is due for a dead cat bounce here. Never understood these cars, never thought that this was a great company. China's economy is in trouble. Nothing really new here for NEO. I don't like this as a long.
The Matrix doesn't have this one, that's for sure.
There you go.
I mean, this thing is just constantly loses money every quarter, billions. I mean, this is in RMB, but it's losing billions of RMB, which is still a lot of US dollars.
Yeah, with you on that one.
Kathy Austin wanted to take a look at MYSZ.
Okay, okay. Let's do that here. Good morning, Kathy. I don't think I said good morning to you yet, but good morning. This is going to be my size, MYSZ. This is going to be my size. This has been, correct me if I'm wrong, but this has been a day trader stock for us before, right? Didn't we trade this around December?
We did trade this at
I gotta think that's the case.
Let me see when that was, if I have levels for it, but we did trade this at one point. Might have been December that we did, because yeah, this thing's ran up to 940. I think what you're seeing today might be more just relative volume, because the big news was on Friday in the pre-market when they had I think it was earnings. They reported their 2024 revenue was up 18% year over year. Still posted a loss. They are looking at their cash reserves doubling, more than doubling, revenue growing. So they had some good headlines, but stock still didn't perform as well. Looks like you also had a big insider sell in February. That was a 10% plus owner, Avatar Securities. they liquidated a large stake, or at least sold some of it. So anyway, that's all I've got for MYSE. I mean, if you're wondering where this one goes today, it's had some nice movement in the pre-market, above its fee. Well, just
220. Yeah, 220 looks to be the real big resistance area here, and it already ran up to that here today.
Yeah. So yeah, 225 is the pre-market high that we have. So unless we get an impulse move soon that takes us over 225, I think this would be coming back down to test the 65 EMA where it's been getting support this morning.
Okay. Okay. Good stuff there. Yeah, Rustam, we just took a look at NEO. Hopefully you saw that. There's not a lot of good stuff there on NEO. Zoltan says he likes it and that the future is bright. Zoltan, one of the smarter guys that I've come across since working in this business, but I'll be honest with you. It's okay to disagree. I don't see it there on NEO. I really don't. Maybe I'm wrong. We shall see. I have to highlight these comments though. Jay, I've been to the Masters 3 times. Yo, hook it up, brother. Good for that is awesome. But hook it up. Nothing else compares. Whis going on to say Augusta National is the most beautiful place on earth. One day, hopefully, I hope to be able to make it out there. Okay, what else do you folks want to take a look at? NEO, we did that. Let's see, what else do we got in here? Kathy, thank you for bringing my size. Appreciate you. Hymns. James wants to take a look at HIMS. I don't even know if he wants to. We were just mentioning here. James mentioning HIMS 2755 pre-market, 2620 is the 100-day support. So here you go. This also down here, 5.2% down with the broader market. Looks like 2620 you said is the 100-day support. I have the 100-day at 3022. Maybe you're talking about something else. I do have the 200-day there at 2615. Only off 5 cents from your support level, and that 200 days seems like that would be a huge spot there for HIMS. The other thing that I'd be looking at here, one thing to watch, and 13, you let me know if you think this is possible, but I think I got a formation of a left shoulder, huge head, and if I had to estimate, maybe a right shoulder out here. So we'll see if this forms here on HIMS or if this pattern or the start to the formation of this pattern gets completely invalidated.
Let me see here.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I start to see these form now whenever that happens.
I've got drawings on here that indicate this is more of a broadening wedge. That's what I've got here. So
okay.
You can see, so
we already drew the first one there.
Yeah, so if you do there you go. Yeah, kind of like that. We're just now breaking beneath the bottom of that of the broadening wedge and going down to test the 200-day SMA, where I think there could be some support. But if we do rebound back off of the 200-day SMA, then it's going to have that task of getting back into the wedge, which might be hard for it. So that's just the price action I'd be thinking that happens right now. It's going to be leaning on the 200-day SMA for support in the short term. We'll have to just wait and see what it ends up doing, but that's what I've got here for HIMS.
Okay. HIMS, Ed wants to take a look at Lunar. I think someone else mentioned Lunar, or it was Ed mentioning Lunar earlier. Lunar, this is a head and shoulders that did play out, by the way. We bounced or tried to bounce away from that 500, but man, we ran right up into that 20-day. Again, a lot of these stocks that we've taken a look at really staying under their 20-day. This also, to me, is really kind of signifying that the market is just on pause until it gets some clarity on the whole tariff tantrum, fiasco, whatever you want to call it. So we'll see if we do get some clarity post that. But Lunar here running right back down. I've got this at 770 here. That 500 days at 70.40. And let's see. Let's take a look inside here. Looks like it did try to bounce here today. Maybe the bottom's put in. You tell me.
So I mentioned, I think it was last week or the week before, the thing I'd want to see with this one before I'd even be interested in touching it again is a recapture of the 200-day SMA, close over the $10 level. But first things first, we need to actually get above this 20-day SMA, which has been keeping the price down. So that would be an encouraging sign to see that get taken out. But yeah, I'm not interested in this until we at least get back above $10, because I was getting asked about this last week. I said the same thing. Started to look like it was going to go towards $10. Didn't get that recapture. Lower we go. I need to see that for confirmation first.
Okay. Real good stuff.
We are going to be opening here in 30 seconds.
Hold on. One of my teammates has an amazing idea. And I need to tell him what a good idea I think that is. Okay, I'm going to flip over to the main workspace here. We're going to get ready for this open. I'm definitely taking a cautious approach here today.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in no rush on anything here today. If it's going to come in, we're going to let it come in. Yep. You got it, Ed. Thanks for being here with us, and thanks for all. And actually, I wanted to shout out everybody here as we open. Thank you, everybody, for your contributions and your participation. I think that the more ideas and opinions and discussion we can generate, the better it's going to be for everybody. So I appreciate all of you for taking the time to punch those keys. Okay, we're open. Let's see what we got.
So far, Ion Q making a move up over that 65 EMA. My size had a little pop there up to about, was it 217?
QSG popped to the VWAP. Cam's asking, any more news on Discord? I didn't see any, and I was actually looking for that over the weekend, Cam, when I was browsing around the interwebs. I didn't see any. I'll keep you posted if anything happens there. QSG, first move here, pop out of the gate, went right to the VWAP and stopped there.
DOMH trying to get back up to the 550 area. TOR, this is trying to get above some of these EMAs, the 9 to 15. It's really struggling to get above the 65 EMA, but if it does, we'll be looking to move towards VWAP. CORT, C-O-R-T, the one that had a 2X move this morning, that's coming back in. Might find some support around $75, but this thing had a huge move, so I think we might see a huge move down as well.
I think you're probably right there, and that was heads up to you for talking about it. Also, your anagram one, CTOR, if it, to make matters more complicated, this one's actually moving up off that pull in the pre-market. So they're doing opposite things here. Be careful.
Yeah, and CORT, that one just it has a really large share price too, so it might turn off a lot of traders to picking up shares of that size. CTOR, much cheaper by about almost 100%.
Yeah. And this actually popping here a little bit. Ivan says, your show has become part of my daily pattern before trading. Thanks, guys. Thank you for making it part of your day. Also, let me know on feedback on what you want to see. I know the production team behind the scenes, you guys don't see them every day, but they're working away. They're trying to make some better graphics for us. We're trying to make it a more fun to interact with on a regular basis. I think that would go a long way here.
My size of new highs.
Good morning, Big Bees.
227 now, 230. This thing is looking for 235 next. And hello, Big Bees.
Okay, CTOR and MYSZ popping here. Let's take a quick look at the broader market here. Looks like that is rolling back over to the lows. That's kind of what we expected. Bitcoin with a big pull there. That actually traded up towards 83.5 and has since yanked over 1,000 points. That's back down here, 82,100 on that future sticker.
SQQQ just absolutely on a tear right now.
Yep.
All right, let's see what the SPY's doing. So we are putting in new highs that we haven't seen price we haven't seen since September last year. Coming down to a previous all-time high of 548.62. This is a pretty big move down here. We tried to get back above 550 out of the open, could not do that. So that's kind of the back. I was looking for more of a move back to fill the gap, and we only got a little bit. And it had a hard time holding over 550. The market said no, you're going lower. Lower we go. 548.62 is the next support I have, and then beneath that 547.
Okay.
I know Geo had some good move out of the gate. Sorry.
Pete, all good. Suddenly we're not talking about a huge correction being healthy. No, that's absolutely what we're still talking about. Mm-hmm. That's what we're waiting out. I think we've been very clear on that.
Yeah, and
nothing has changed, Pete. Sorry.
This isn't, we haven't had a huge correction yet. because
it's been 10%.
Right. Yeah.
That's not. I mean, that's normal.
That's just a healthy correction. You want to see a really big correction, that'll take us down to like 19%. So almost double where we're at right now.
Here was another piece of news that we didn't cover here. I apologize. That's my fault here. Rocket companies expected to merge here with Mr. Cooper.
Yep. I saw that news and I laughed because Mr. Cooper at one point was my mortgage servicer.
Actually, I think my mom had that as a mortgage servicer for a time being as well. I'd have to double check though.
Yeah, you get you get your mortgage kind of sold to different companies. That's how they I came to be under their.
So you didn't pick Mr. Cooper out of the lineup?
Hell no.
I say that jokingly. By the way, Court, after that huge pull, this pulled down to an 80 handle. We've actually bounced from there, 12 plus points on this bounce.
Great move in my size. That thing now hitting a high of 259. Well done. MLGO just broke out, looking for that 22. This thing is, yeah.
we didn't get more news on that on the anticipated offering, did we?
Oh, who cares? This thing is just a meme stock.
That was the right answer. That was absolutely the right answer.
Looks like CORT trying to turn positive here. I just recaptured VWAP. Got some good volume there a moment ago. We have DOMH and QSG, both halted to the downside. Big knives.
I had asked you for those first poll results. They are in. CoreWeave, will it be a winner? 45% of you said not sure. So it looks like there's still some uncertainty with that whole IPO market, especially as it pertains to AI, which makes a lot of sense. 28% of you said no, and 25% of you said yes. So this is the first poll that I can recall. Maybe I'm wrong about this, producer. You'd have to check me on this, but this is the first poll that I can recall where the yes vote was in last place. So will CoreWeave be a winner? It looks like the majority is saying they're not too sure. How about that?
All right. So we're my size. What a great mention that was. MYSZ 265 for the high now. Let's see here.
Okay, things are attempting to hold here. Not sure if I would trust. You're right on that my size. I didn't trade that one at all. That did break above the VWAP and is holding above the VWAP or MLGO, excuse me. SPY here looks like it's trying to bounce from that level. We'll see. Would really want this to get back above the VWAP and would love to see some of the volume step up. Actually seeing some V bounces in some other charts as well. Tesla, one of those. Tesla's trying. This too needs to get back above the VWAP.
Now CTOR halted to the downside. So three movers we looked at this morning halted to the downside. Is anybody surprised?
Here you go. Dom H knifed all the way back down to the pre-market. Oh my God.
Wow.
Hopefully no one got trapped in that one. Hopefully no one got trapped in that one. That's actually kind of a nasty move. OSG, this did pop to the VWAP and then knifed. And this is, again, another one of the reasons why we're staying out of things or why I'm trying to just dial it back a little bit. No reason to be a hero here. SPXS. I think I mixed that up there. This from last week. Remember 666. Spooky entry here. SPXS almost up a point from that. Things turning around here off of that opening print. Dollar General going higher. I wonder, so here, let's take a look at those. These were some stocks that worked last week when the market was down. Dollar General looking all right here. Remember, we're on the second half of that trade as we've already booked some gains. Dollar Tree also had news last week. That is trying to pop here, although it's about flat at the moment. The Tesla ETFs, the short ETFs going higher here. Now, Tesla is trying to bounce off the low that it put in, but it's trying to go, but these Tesla ETFs going higher here. around. Let's see. Goldman Sachs tried to bounce. Apple reversed. Netflix pulled down. Ooh, who's anyone trading Netflix right now? Netflix pulled all the way down to that 900 and bounced there. Wonder if this holds on to 900. Good morning, Vintage Tool Restoration.
Hey, Vintage. Getting a mention from WebCoin. NWTG is going.
MWTG or WTG?
It says NWTG.
NWTG. Okay, I just could. That was just me not hearing correctly. Newton Golf.
There you go.
I don't know this one.
But you do now.
Well, I'm not going to get sucked into trading something just because it has golf in the title. We're going to try and be a little bit more tactical than that. Technology-driven golf company dedicated to revolutionizing the sport with cutting-edge, high-performance products. Company is expanding its portfolio, includes innovative golf shafts, putters, grips, and other golf-related accessories designed for golfers of all skill levels. Hey, I'm not familiar with it, at least not off the top of my head. Now, the stock here moving from the lows back to the VWAP, I would be very weary about trusting that on the VWAP move higher.
Yeah. What was this something else before? Like, was this a SPAC?
I don't know. I Newton Golf. I'm not even familiar with that.
I'm just kind of looking at the chart.
I know.
I'm just kind of looking at the chart and wondering what this thing was. I mean, there's no history on the news feed for this, so just kind of wondering what this was. I mean, this did have a pretty substantial drop not too long ago. I don't know. I'm not going to spend too much time digging into this.
I'm seeing on Twitter that it's Christopher Walken's birthday. Could that be true? I'm looking that up.
TNXP, that was a good mention. I'm sorry I missed who said that, but that was a good mention.
Christopher Walken is born March 31st, 1943. Happy birthday to Christopher Walken. Sorry about that. Had to. He's awesome. Had to confirm that there.
Looks like TNXP might run into a little resistance around 2340.
Mullen pulled, stop the presses. TNXP was the one that you're looking at there?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just looking at what the price action we had on Friday, and looks like there was some, a point where there was support at about 2340, and then the stock fell through. So now that we're underneath that, I'm going to be looking at that as resistance. So 2340 might be an area of resistance for TNXP. Might be briefly, or it could just be the entire day that it's resistance.
So you guys with Newton Golf here, Webcoin says take a swing at it. That's a good one, Webcoin. NWTG, very scammy company, multiple reverse splits. Did we carry that? Oh, but you're saying it was a ticker change here. Name change a couple of weeks ago. Newton is sex.
Okay.
There you go.
That answers my question. Thank you very much for looking at that. By the way, MLGO.
I knew we could count on our group.
Yep, always can. MLGO. We hopefully the warning was heeded. This is what can happen with this one. It comes right back in after making a nice move. So
it did hold the. Oh no, yeah, sorry. I was going to say it did hold the VWAP, but it actually my 15 EMA is a similar blue.
It's more of the consolidation we've been having all morning that it held. It held in that supply area. I'm sorry, demand area. MYSG, yeah, Trout. We've been talking, and hopefully some people have been trading that one. This one almost hitting 3 now, but it looks like it's getting a little bit tired here. Let's see what happens after this candle. I have a feeling we may start to see this trade either sideways or start to cool off a bit. Had some good movement out of the gate here on MYSZ. Because I think that's what you were talking about, right? MYS. You said MYSG. I think you mean that's what.
No, I think Trout. Yeah, I think Trout means MYSZ.
Okay.
And $3 hollow looks like that might be coming here.
QSG.
Glenn, yeah, sorry. Glenn, good morning. I know you were mentioning ONDS here. It's actually ended up having a really good day on Friday. And then the move down here today, and immediately got bought. I don't want to read too much into this because the trading action has not been great here. Great to see it back above $1. Let's get back above $3, and then we can start looking ahead here on ONDS. Which one did you want to take a look at? OSG or QSG?
Yeah, I just saw that was trying to turn around after losing the 200 EMA. It's recaptured it. Still has a task of getting through the pre-market consolidation, but that's going to be about where the 65 EMA is. So I would think that there's going to be some resistance there. Should it recapture that, the VWAP would be next.
Jane mentioning GUR here, this popping out of the open pretty much right back to the sideways area that it spent between March 26th and March 17th. So GUR might have put in a bottom there. Here's what your daily chart looks like there on GUR. It did put in a bottom, and it maybe starts to make another move higher here. Maybe $34 is a possible target there. GRRR. No position there. Dollar General showing up on the scanner. Well, I'll tell you what, the daily time frame here looks awesome. This sure looks like a breakout coming here on Dollar General. We'll see if we get that. Great to see it on the relative volume scanner. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, 88 is kind of the big resistance area at this point. Is this whole consolidation from September of last year? That's what it's been trying to make its way through. We get through that, we're testing the 200-day SMA.
Yep. Good. Lion saying, watch Amazon at 185. Izzy, I saw that you were here earlier, said you're going on vacation with the family. Do me a favor and enjoy that for all of us. That sounds sick. We'll hold the fort down and keep the seat warm for you for when you get back. Lion wanted to take a look here at Amazon with the 185 support. You know, interestingly enough, 13, I'm pretty sure that we talked about drawing this trend line that now we're back testing, right? So we broke through that, immediately reversed. Looks like we're trying to back test that trend line down here. We're actually beneath it, at least to my eye. 185. We did hold 185. Low print there, 185.01. So it did bounce off that 185, at least for this first attempt.
Yeah, that's
Lab D. I think Mike was trading this last week.
You know, for Amazon,
someone's going to have to remind me.
For Amazon, I think that you probably are going to see the price get some support pretty soon. We're getting into oversold territory. I would think that if we do get closer to 180, we might see some bulls step in. We also have the 500-day SMA down at 167.79. That's a little bit of a ways to go, but I don't want to rule out that moving average just yet. It still looks like a very interesting level the price could still go to. Very interesting level, actually. That's 167.51. That particular level is quite interesting. It's been it was a gap up level back in February of last year.
You guys are mentioning MLGO here. Let me bring that up. I took that off the screen, so it's no surprise that it's doing something crazy now. MLGO.
It is.
Hey, look, it's going for that 22 spot we talked about.
Yeah. Maybe it. I mean, you got a bit of a trend here with the way this is trading up. So you could even, draw some trend lines if you want. Kind of give yourself an idea of where the highs might be.
You're just saying like basically these intraday trends here?
Yeah, you could use those. You could use it on the daily chart. Just go with the highs, and then just do it on the draw the trend of the highs, and that gives you an idea. That gives you an idea of where this price could end up going to.
Like this?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There we go. MLGO. Lion saying that Google is oversold. So Lion, this is interesting. You're buying oversold names today. Looks like you're buying here today. I'm going to start buying Amazon and Google.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, no, I'm a little bit puzzled because I'm pretty sure earlier, maybe I'm mixing that up with somebody else. I'm pretty sure earlier he said everything's going lower and that we're in big trouble. We could see over 20% down. A recession is coming. More downside is coming. Yet you're buying into this. I guess I'm just trying to square that there.
Yeah, I like Google down here. This is about the area I'd be picking it up too.
We said 150, right? Last time we talked about Google. I think we talked about this one on the happy hour too.
Yep. It's going to be oversold too. I mean, we're just above 30 RSI. we're in that RSI in the 30. We start going underneath that. I think you're going to see buyers start to step in. How much lower does this go? Maybe that we see some sub 150 prints, but I don't think it would last too long if we do. I mean, this has just been a really big move in a short period of time. We are going to probably death cross in this one and probably some of the other Mag 7 names as well. But for the move that we've had recently, there should be a bounce. And I think following that bounce, we'll get the death crosses.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just handling some other stuff here.
No worries. MLGO still making its way up. Gonna hit $22.
Let me go back here.
Big seller in the way there.
Boop. Lion, yes, you're dollar cost averaging. Okay, so you're taking a long-term approach here, which makes a lot of sense.
All right, so we just had that the new high. We just beat the pre-market highs in MLGO, and now we're starting to get the pull. It went right to that trend line. It should have gone to the trend line that you got. Okay, so yours
sure did. Yeah. I probably drew it just a little
high,
messy, but
it's okay.
Yeah,
same idea applies. We should see some pulling. Okay, we're seeing some pulling here now. Don't know if this is going to be the end of it for MLGO. Maybe it breaks through that trend line and goes higher, but that for the purposes of the trade that we were trying to outline here, we got that move to the trend line, and that's where I would have been out.
Yeah, that pretty good one there. By the way, another look around here. That SPXS stopped up there at 760. I'm throwing a stop on at 725. Now that I'm in here, I'm just not going to give it back in case the market comes back in. It's not a huge position. It's just what do they call it? Keeping the lights on, paying for lunch, whatever you call it. So looking at that here on SPXS. Pete, want a real bargain? Look at Dell and the current PE. So this is interesting because we have been talking a lot about waiting for some of these PEs to really come in and make more sense. Here is your Dell chart. 13, I'm pretty sure we talked about this trend line the last time Dell was trading back up here. Mm-hmm. Does seem to be, Pete, you tell me, is this at a pretty critical support for you?
It can't go any lower than, I would say, $87. I would think that has to hold. And maybe we do see some lower prints, but 87 is a pretty important support area. There's that consolidation from January of last year that I want to see provide support for the price and a bit of a demand area, because we did death cross already back in January of this year. It implies that we could still trend lower if we don't hold above that $87 level. So I want to see that hold up. We're coming down to test it. It needs to survive that test, or I think if it does go lower, then I'm just going to have to wait a little bit longer on this one. But okay, I would draw a line at $87.
So So here I can actually add that on here. That's no problem. Boop. Oh my Lord, what is going on? There we go. There's your 87 line. We also had this wedge here that we fell out of, back tested, and we've lost the 500 day. Pete, I got to think that this is gearing up for a bounce here at some point. You also, this conversation started with Dell having a PE here. PE is 9.
Oh, wow.
9.9. So we had talked about really waiting for some of these stocks to get cheaper. Pete, this is an excellent example of that. I don't think Dell is a crappy company at all, despite me not wanting to use their computers. I used to in a former life. We'll leave it at that. I think this is actually, we just talked about dollar cost averaging. We talked about adding stocks at support levels. This one makes a lot of sense, whatever metric, chart, PE.
And it's
not bad.
It's down 50% off the highs from May. Cut in half.
Cut in half. This is a really good mention here, Pete.
Yeah, I think so too. Good mention.
Yeah, this was a good mention.
MLGO 23 broke through that trend line that we got. See how much more we got.
Really quickly, more shout outs are in order here. We're going to do the cash register ring. Crow, I know you were talking about sell 8. You had a dead bottom call on sell H here. I know you had called 40. We didn't quite get there, but we've recaptured the 200-day, and now it looks like we're pushing away from that 200-day. So, Crow, big time shout for you. In the face of this stock looking like it was just at dead bottom, this was a really good call here for the group. Sell H, Celsius.
Great stuff. We're getting some of these names to turn around here. Was still going.
I'm surprised though. I didn't think that was allowed.
What?
Anyway, here's Gur.
What was allowed?
I didn't think stocks going up today were allowed. I mean, there was so much negativity and the world ending. I'm surprised that this is the case. ONDS is green. How could this be? Oh, it's red. It's red now. It's red now. Okay. Back to reality here. I'm not sure how we can go up. It's just there's so much bad news baked in, or there's so much bad news going on out there. I don't see how we could go up.
The overselling will entice buying.
I know. I'm just being a smartass.
Okay. Well,
I'm just being a complete and total smartass just because I'm literally like I came from an extremely relaxing weekend to, oh my God, the world is on fire. We're all going to die. And I just don't buy it at all. By the way, VIX pulled off the highs here, 2480. This thing is down about a full point from those highs.
Gur just having a great day. Just straight up. I'd be a little concerned about getting too extended at this stage. Feel like it would need to cool off pretty soon. We'll see what we get. But this has just been straight up out of the gate. Great mention.
Good stuff, Jane.
TNXP, that came back in after hitting 23.28, getting support from VWAP. It's looking to turn around. See if we end up getting that or not.
Bluebird Bio is sorry for interrupting you here. Bluebird Bio, this is actually up 25% here. This got a price. Oh no, okay. This got its price target lowered from 40 to 8. Okay, that makes more sense. I was like, what? This thing went from 8 to 40. Stock's up 25.5%. BLUE. Which one was that you were just looking at? TNXP?
No, I'm looking at MLGO now. That
MLGO. I'm sorry, man.
That printed above 24. Just lost it trying to recapture. There it is. I'm waiting to see when we're going to start the topping out process for MLGO. It doesn't quite look like we've begun that yet, but if we get another long wick on this candle, we might have something there.
I'll tell you what, this MLGO already popping higher than I thought here. I'm glad that I am not trying to figure this one out.
Just be careful with it. We've already seen it do one knife. That won't be the last one.
Go, Steve. I appreciate your glass half full approach. I think you're right. Taking a long-term approach with this. If we can survive 2022, we can survive this. Amen, brother.
PRTG, this just unhalted after being halted to a rip. 989 now the session high, but coming back in. I don't know what this was moving on.
What was this other one? Skyline Builders. This was the other halt. Looks like this had a wild morning here. This has been halted twice here today. Keep an eye on IONQ. So we did take, here's QUBT. Wow, the quantum name. So there's QUBT. Is QBTS doing the same thing? QBTS spiking. Here's IONQ. Is turning up here.
Rigetti also.
Rigetti. Remember, IONQ and Rigetti, those are the ones that some of the analysts on CNBC are looking at. Rigetti, maybe if this can get above 815 here.
Yeah, just look to your left on some of these quantum names. They did go sideways on Friday for a little bit. Those are going to be supply areas that could provide resistance. Just keep an eye out for those. They may be the top of the run.
My grandfather is selling his old teeth. I think there's a joke in there, but I can't quite place it. Gold teeth. Okay. Now I get it. Now I get it. Sorry, 13.
No worries. I mean, hey, some people are going to have a whole lot of value in their jaws.
John says AI Benzinga. Yes, I am the construct of AI. So let me know if you need me to show you an AI trick. I don't know what that means. I'm just saying stuff here that AI would say.
MLGO searching out 25.
Blue continuing to go this above 5 on blue. And that Newton Golf we took a look at, this taking out its VWAP. How's the broader market doing? Okay, so the SPY tried to bounce, basically got back to the pre-market levels there. I suppose if we're looking at the 5-minute chart here, we got rejected at the 65 EMA on the 5. See if we have the strength to get above that there.
We're going to have a whole series of economic reports coming out this week. I think we get retail sales.
Yeah, so Tuesday you have the ISM manufacturing PMI and the JOLTS. You get on Wednesday, you get the oil and crude data. On Thursday, you get the initial jobless claims and the import-export and the ISM services PMI. And on Friday, you get non-farm payrolls and a slew of Fed speakers.
Yep. I think even Powell's speaking this week.
There you go.
MLGO hit 25.38, and now it looks like it's trying to come back in.
Paul, I didn't even think about this. Don't go around smiling in public. If you have gold teeth, you're liable to get them punched out. Yeah. Yikes. Sorry, which stock were you looking at there, 13?
MLGO.
Why did I even ask? That's the big one of the day.
I don't know, Ryan. Why did you?
I should just know. Here's the big pullback. Let me ask you, do you think we back test this trend line and hold?
Well, it's back testing it for me. I don't know about holding it.
Oh, okay. So you probably have it just adjusted a little bit more. There you go.
Yeah, so this is back testing the trend line right now for me. Don't know if we'll get a rebound or not, but maybe. This thing has just been on fire all morning. We'll see if it holds. If it doesn't, then they're probably going to be done for now.
Dollar General continuing its creep higher. Let's take out that 88 level 13. Let's do it. Blue building above 5. Watch for that to pop its highs. I've got 516, I think, is the high print on that candle. 516. Mr. Cooper, it looks like it's stopped that sell-off, or at least paired it off a little bit. It's trying to hold there. Dollar Tree, by the way, we also talked about that one, also on the scanner here. Interesting.
I'm a little surprised that Cooper is even getting any movement. That's a buyout, isn't it? Or is it? Well, it's an all stock deal, so I guess it'll probably the way Rocket trades might have something to do with it.
MYSZ.
Yeah, my size.
This is right. There's a battle at the VWAP. This actually looks like this is trying to resolve here. I'd watch the volume on this one.
Yeah,
my size is ready to go after consolidation, says defined boundary. Could see that happening here. Tesla is also bouncing here. Sorry, I was just looking around at some stuff there.
No problem. It looks like MLGO is still trying to push higher after that knife. Ion Q, new highs. Looks like my size is going lower. This thing looks like it's... I don't know about a rebound yet. What else are we looking at?
I'm looking at most of the stuff here. I'm basically just looking at the scanner QUBT. So these quantum plays still working here for a short-term trade. BGS, B&G Foods. This didn't move on news, did it? Nope. SPXS on the scanner. How about that? Look at this. Is this really going to come back in and go red? Well, if so, we're going to get some gains booked on that. But that's the hedge. Yes. Duke Energy also on the scanner here. DUK. Sorry, 13. What was that?
No worries. No, I was just going to make a comment about SPSX. It's getting support from the 65 EMA. Okay. Mr. Cooper, looks like that's going to come back in some more. I don't like the formation it's got going on here. let's see. It looks like my size is going to end up coming down to about 225 maybe. MACD's indicating it's rolling over. It hasn't been able to hold above the VWAP. Be careful with my size. CORT, that one from this morning, trying to push up higher.
Sorry, some 100 puts went off on XYZ, which is block. I think that was actually a closing order there. 2.86 million. Those were at 47. Contracts sold at 47. Just an absolute monster. Let's check in on EA. Been out of this for a while, man. 144. This thing hit 146. I'll tell you what, this bounce trade that Mark Petrino gave us here, I hope the rest of y'all were able to make money off that. This has been the trade of the year here so far. Shout out to Mark Petrino. We'll keep bringing them on. ONDS continuing to flash here on the scanner. Giddy up 5% now. Boy, what a difference an hour makes.
Yeah.
Don't want to get too ahead of myself just because this thing is volatile. We see this thing moving, but green on a very, very red day here, at least so far, at least early in the morning here.
We found the green.
Yeah, we found it. Well, we're going to try and find you some more green. That's for sure. Let me go back to my main chart here. Let's bring up the SPY. That's right. It is 10:05 on a Monday. That means it is time for the one and only Matt Maley. Let's bring him on and see what he thinks of what's going on here. Matt, good morning. Happy Monday. I'm going to start off with what I always start off with here. Is your bracket busted yet, or are you still in it?
No, I'm out. I'm done.
Okay. Sorry to hear that, but
How about yourself?
We'll get them next time. I'm good, man. I've got Duke winning the whole thing. I'm sitting in the catbird seat, and I'm in third place, and the two people in front of me don't have Duke. So as long as Duke pulls this thing out, I'm going to be bringing home some more money. The question is going to be, do I invest that or do I sit on the sidelines here, Matt? We got Liberation Day or Tariff Day, whatever you want to call it, coming up here this week. I had a whole bunch of red arrows here in the pre-market. I had a super red day on Friday. What are you seeing out there? What do you make of the current market action right now?
Well, yeah, it was obviously opened down quite strongly today. In fact, in the chat room, we were able to make over 500% on some of our SQQQ calls that we bought last week. So that worked out very nicely. But the situation is, we're repricing risk now. I mean, the tariff issue is obviously going to be front and center this week. But that's not going to be as we move to the end of the week. We're also going to still think about what's going on in the economy because you got the employment number that day. But the real thing is that the market had pushed way above its underlying fundamentals last year, basically in 2024, AI and the euphoria surrounding around that, and some liquidity injections. And so it's going to take some time. It's going to be a process for us to go through this repricing. I mean, people running around talking about, 20 times earnings. Is that good enough? I was like, what are you talking about? People have convinced themselves that somehow 20 times earnings or 3 times sales is normal. And I understand why they have, because it's happened a couple of times. But every time it's happened in the last 25 years, the market has sold off in at least 20%. I think we're in the middle of a process that will do that. Now, can we get a sell the rumor, buy the news reaction later this week? On Wednesday, when these tariffs come out, tariff reports come out, yeah, that could happen, especially if they're postponed at all or if they're cut back at all. But I'd still think that investors need to be very careful, should be buying any rise. The market's bouncing it back off its lows this morning off of a little bit better Chicago PMI number that came out at 945. And you combine that with the fact that it's the last day of the quarter, some window dressing going on. People, anybody want to do any window dressing this morning, we're like, I don't want to touch it because of the way the whole thing with the tariffs. Now we're going to do tariffs on Putin, on Russia. They didn't want to touch it. Well, we got a little bid from that Chicago PMI number, giving those window dressing people a little bit more confidence. But I still think that we're going to see a further decline over time in the months ahead.
Okay. Just want to reiterate one of the first things that Matt just said there. I woke up this morning, I turned on all my terminals, and all I saw was the end of the world, gloom and doom, this and that. I look at Matt's room and he's selling stuff up 500% in there. Link in the chat if you want to trade with Matt. Really good stuff there last week, Matt. Okay. Let me ask you, so you're talking about being cautious here. You're talking about some of the big events that we have coming up here. Is there any spot that you're looking to really kind of dive back in? Or I guess just to make it easier, is there any sector that is there anything out there that you like?
Well, it's funny. The issue with gold, we had like gold for a long time. He still wears it right now. I'm just seeing it's still up $30. We actually bought ports in the GDX index, the gold miner, because even when gold is going higher, the overall market, the stock market is going lower. The gold mining stocks are going to go down. The same thing can happen with oil prices. Oil prices can go up, and crude oil prices can go up, and yet the energy stocks can go down at times. I mean, right now they're holding up pretty well. But my point is that you got to play this thing in a very got to remain very nimble. The level I'm looking at, the S&P 500, 5,500 is, that was that, March 13th low, just above 5,500. Now we broke below the trend line going back from 2023. We broke below the 200-day moving average. We made a higher low. If we follow that with a lower high, and if we follow that lower high with a lower low below 5,500 on a closing basis, that's going to be a big problem. That's going to take you. That's going to lead or risk a move down to 5,100, which was the August lows.
Okay, 13. You got anything here for Matt today?
Well, I'd like to comment about the market going low over time. Just kind of an idea of when you think that time frame might play out. Personally, I'm looking at maybe we get a rebound pretty soon that helps lift us up a little bit in April and May before we sell in May and go away. Just kind of wondering what kind of timeline we're looking at here for when we start to see some of these bounces start to resolve lower.
I froze up. My system froze up a little bit there. I didn't hear your question. I'm sorry. If you could just repeat it. Sorry, buddy.
No problem. Absolutely. Just was curious about when you expect to see some of these bounces that we should be getting pretty soon start to roll over. I'm kind of anticipating toward the end of May. I just wanted to see what you thought about when we're going to start to see some more of that continued downside.
Yeah, well, it's going to be. I mean, I've been thinking that would be the case. I mean, the whole thing of sell in May and go away has not worked out very well. So selling at the end in the last 10 years, it worked well for 50 years, whatever. It did well. Did do well in 2022, but however, I'm worried that it's going to kick in mid month this next month, which starts tomorrow. And the reason for that is earnings. That's when all the earnings come out. And if we continue to see a lowering of earnings forecasts, which we have really started to pick up in the last couple of weeks, that means that the market's is not trading at 21 times earnings. It's trading at 22 or 23 times. I mean, the point is we need earnings forecasts to go up. They've been going down for a while, only mildly. If they start to go down further, that's going to be a big problem. So, the earnings they'll beat this earnings season. They'll beat 70, whatever, 65, 70, 75% of the companies will beat expectations because they always do, even in the worst bear markets, because they lower the expectations enough so they're beaten. What is the guidance? That's going to be the key. If the guidance continues to cause earnings estimates to come down for this year, that could create another leg lower sooner than we would normally see. So it may come again, but even before the end of this month. Even though April tends to be a good month seasonally, I'm worried that it's going to be tough this time around.
Excellent. Okay, that's great because that actually answers one of the questions that I had last. I was going to comment on seasonality. We've been talking a lot about that recently, and it does look like now we're starting to flip to a positive seasonality or a period that is traditionally positive. Sounds like, Matt, that you don't think that might materialize?
Well, I think that we could get it again this week. At any time we get Liberation Day, we could get the sell the rumor going into it, the rumor that's going to be really bad, and then they buy the news when it actually gets announced. you could see a bounce there, or the employment number. If the employment number is decent on Friday, we could get a bounce in early April. I just think by mid-April, when these earnings, mid to late April, as these earnings come out more and more, I think you're going to see more a lowering of estimates, and that could create to answer your question, yes, I don't think it's going to be as good this April, but that may not come for another week or two. We could see a normal seasonal bounce here near term at some point before the week's over.
Okay, real good stuff there. And then the question that I just wanted to just flatly ask you here, do you think that the April 2nd date that everyone has been talking to, do you think that the market might look at this like, hey, some uncertainty was removed, so now we can kind of move forward? Do you think that it's a possibility at all?
I think that the April 2nd could be a turning point there. I don't know how much uncertainty it will remove. However, I do think that especially if we get any kind of, if this little bounce we're seeing here, was obviously the market's still down pretty big right now, but we're bouncing off the lows. If this rolls back over and we get a washout move into Wednesday, a real big flush, I do think it could be something that creates some near-term bounce. So again, if we blow below that 5,500 level in the next 2 days, we could see a bounce later in the week, especially if the employment number is okay. So we're going to have to remain very, very nimble. But I do think no matter when we get the next bounce, it should be another opportunity. It won't happen immediately, but because it'll just like the last one did. It'll last more than 2 or 3 days. It'll last a week or two. But I think it'll provide another good opportunity to raise some cash and make some and put on some new negative positions.
Okay. Real good stuff there, Matt. Appreciate you making sense of the craziness here as you do every Monday. Folks, if you need help or you want to follow along and trade with Matt, please click on the link. We've got a 7-day trial for his service in there. And Matt, you've been absolutely crushing it. Really good work. Thanks for joining us here. Have a good week, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Sounds great. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Matt.
Take care. That is Matt Maley. Awesome stuff there. Okay. We'll see where we go. It sounds like I don't, you know what? I don't want to make a call. I don't want to put words in anyone else's mouth, but Matt's on top of it. He's been following it. Be sure to check out his service here. Okay. While that was going on, we have some more moves with some of these smaller names here. MLGO coming back in towards that VWAP and its trend. We'll see if that holds here. How's my size doing? That also came back in to its 15 EMA. What else we got?
Just looking around here, some of these are bouncing. Looks like GRR is recapturing its VWAP, so that's trying to push higher.
Ondas at the highs? You don't say.
Rigetti, Ionic, those are, the quantum names are still pushing higher. Looks like we're getting some a bit of a bounce in some of the space names, but I don't think they've turned green quite yet. Excuse me.
Hey, did you see that there was another rocket, Asar? Oh gosh, I'm totally drawing a blank here. I saw another company try to launch a rocket. I think it was early this morning or yesterday, and it just blew up. Let's see if I can find that here for you. Asar Aerospace, ISAR Aerospace. Here, Asar's Aerospace first rocket crashes after a brief flight. The German startup Spectrum rocket lifted off of the pad and came back and crashed. Did you follow that at all? I wanted to ask you about that, but I understand if this was too fresh. It just made me have more of an appreciation for Elon Musk and SpaceX since he's catching rockets.
There's going to be a number of different companies and countries that you're going to see popping up with rocket launches this year. So the one I'm waiting to see is, I think there's going to be like 1 or 2 out of India. I'd have to go back and see where they're all coming from, but this is going to be the year where you're going to see a lot of space activity, lots of rocket launches. We're going to get a whole lot with just SpaceX alone. And I think that's going to kind of be the bellwether for milestones as far as space flight is going to go, because they're the ones that are in the lead right now. And whatever, if they do something great, maybe they demonstrate their orbital refueling this year. That's going to be a big milestone for space talks.
Okay, there. I just threw a link there in the chat. That was indeed over the weekend here. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff on that.
Looks like
what else we got going on?
Looks like SPSX is trying to turn back up, so market might be selling a little bit more here. What else?
Looks like blue kind of stopped up here at about 515. ONDS still at the highs. Giddy up. We'll take that. CELH 36. This continuing to move higher here. Crow. Just a really, really good call on that. How about some of these bigger tech names here? AMD is up off the lows. Tesla is up off the lows. It's actually trying to break out of that purple shaded area that we had. Hood, we took a look at earlier. That Reclaim 40, that's up off the lows.
Now, how many of these bounces do you feel about buying? Or feel good about buying?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, 13. So I don't feel good about buying any of these bounces. One of the stocks that I had talked about earlier that I was looking to add was going to be PanW on the cybersecurity theme, but I'm not buying that bounce here today. 13, just kind of give you a little bit more idea or more of an idea of what I was looking at here. I still think 160 is possible. I would definitely be adding at 150 or 151, wherever this 500 is when we end up coming down in there. But no, to answer your question, just kind of outwardly here today, no. I guess I disagree a little bit with Matt in terms of I do think that there will be some uncertainty removed past April 2nd. What that actually means, though, for some of these plays, I'm not too sure yet. So, no, I'm not looking to buy this just yet, 13.
Yeah, it was interesting that he said middle of April because that's when we get through tax season. Wondering if there's anything any relevance to the taxes. Can't see how that would. I don't know, but I think you do see some selling to pay for taxes probably between now and when they're due. That's just a thought.
I almost wonder if we've seen some of that already here this year.
Probably
with the market really kind of moving down.
Sure. Yeah, some people already are paying taxes. Yeah.
Yeah. Care Solutions, do you want to take a look at can we take a look at NVIDIA? Yeah, we can. We did take a look at NVIDIA earlier. This is down 4.5% here, but it's worth noting that this is actually up off the lows. This was down over 6.5% earlier today. Looks like the low that it put in here was just about 103 and some change. Looking ahead, though, again, nothing here has changed for me with NVIDIA. We've pretty much been in this downward trend that's shown here by this yellow parallel channel. I'm still looking for 98 to 100 as a possible bounce spot here on NVIDIA. Just kind of piggybacking off of what 13 was just asking me. I'm not buying anything here today on NVIDIA. I want to see this come in a little bit more, but this is what I got.
Oh, we did go down to that 105 that I've been targeting. That was what I was looking for following the loss of the 113 handle. Now we're trying to get some support. We may end up just going down to the underneath the 100 to test the bottom of that channel.
That would be great. I would take that. I would absolutely take that. Lion here regarding PanW. We made money a couple months ago on PanW. Yes, we did, and last year we did as well. Looking for more of that this year, to be quite honest with you. 160, you'd be a buyer on PanW. How about NVIDIA, Lion? Where are you buying NVIDIA at? I still like that 98 to 100 level that you were just talking about there. All right, let me go back to the main workspace. Looks like you guys have a lot. Newton Golf might be a rocket. Smoke Tuna, NWTG. Looks like we really ran into 240 again. I'd watch that 240 spot. Smoke Tuna, you know what I like here? Is that this volume really hasn't backed off yet. I know we had that one spike here, but these volume levels so far from the open, these have remained elevated. You're welcome, Care Solutions.
Court moving higher now, looking for those pre-market highs. Looks like 105 might be a bit of a resistance area, but if we can get through that,
man,
it looks like the 109.51 high might get tested.
Okay, Lion here saying NVIDIA 95 to 100, so we're about in the same range there. See if we can go here on Court.
Yeah, if NVIDIA goes under 100, I think a lot of people are going to step in.
I think so too, 13. I think that psychological level and NVIDIA just being so huge, I think that alone is going to be enough to entice some buyers back to it. I think you're right on that. Okay, here's Court. I'm going to step away for just 1 sec. I'll be right back, 13.
All right. So, yeah, there's Court. Like I said, looking to take out 105. I think that's the big resistance area. Let's look through some of these movers from this morning. CTOR, that hasn't really done a whole lot of anything except go lower. DOMH, after the knives, it's been just trying to curl back up and go sideways. Maybe later on today, this trades better. So we'll see what happens with that one. QSG, this thing did get support from the 200 EMA, but it needs to recapture that 65 EMA if it's going to go and test that VWAP again. MLGO, this thing came down to VWAP, trying to go higher. Volume's not as great as it used to be. If it loses VWAP, this thing's probably going to end up down around 18, maybe lower. CDT, this one trying to find some support down here at the pre-market lows. My size is not a one-size-fits-all, apparently, because this thing is now gone right. It's almost down to the 65 EMA again.
So it looks like we pulled substantially off of that move higher here on my size. I like that. My size is not one size fits all. I like that. I like that. Ed, our cat came back, a live cat. No, buddy, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the drone stock.
Getting a mention for ICCT.
Real quickly here before we go to ICCT, remember, our cat reporting earnings here tonight. So you got an earnings print and a conference call here tonight. Be careful with that on RCAT. Okay, you wanted to take a look at ISST?
Yeah, ICCT.
ICCT, excuse me.
No, ICCT was a mover this morning. We just didn't cover it because it was under $1. Didn't look that interesting. But it's curled up since we've sold out of the open here, recaptured VWAP, and now it's looking to take out the pre-market high of 83 cents.
Volume actually looks good here. It's held up here on ICCT. Feel like we've traded this one before with mixed results.
Yep.
Core still looks like it might be trying to break out here. NWTG still has some elevated volume here. How about Blue? Smoke Tuna's mentioning Blue here has the volume look on BLUE. This is still holding above 5. This one too also might be trying to go higher here.
Yeah, just a bit of sideways actually. As a matter of fact, if you want to try and draw a trend line, it looks like it may be trying to break out of this bull pennant that it's got going on here. This needs more volume. I think that's the big thing with this is this needs volume. Looks like MLGO losing VWAP. That might go lower here.
Ondas pulled back a little bit, but it's holding there, at least so far. See if the volume kicks up again here. MLGO, you were saying?
Yeah, and QSG also trying to get above the 65 EMA. Yeah, MLGO lost its VWAP. Maybe it recaptures it, but it looks like this is still trending lower for the time being. So be careful with this one. You know what can happen with this.
Bitcoin here made another run towards 84K and stopped there. So Bitcoin's actually down 1% here today. Let me take a look at that crypto chart though, real quick. Here is Bitcoin. So we do have the death cross still kind of coming into play. The action here today does represent kind of a higher low, at least versus the last low. And we're actually still above the bottom trend line here. Still, though, I think Bitcoin's going to roll over.
I used to be able to pull up. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find it. So I used to be able to pull up Bitcoin easy. Now I just can't seem to find. There we go. Yeah. So let's see. On a 5-minute chart, this looks like it's trying to get some support around 82, like around 83,000, 82.75 and 83,000. So if we turn around here, look for it to try and trade up to the highs that we made earlier this morning. Looks like MLGO is trying to turn back around. QSG is making its way through 65 EMA up to VWAP. What else is moving good? It looks like GER is getting some VWAP support for the time being. Blue still not doing anything yet. Looks like MLGO might be making another move here. It's recaptured 23 after getting support from VWAP. Let's be careful with this one.
That GER chart doesn't actually look terrible.
No, it doesn't.
And MLGO is trying to bounce here so far.
My size coming down to the 65 EMA may get support there.
Oil here at the highs. Oil futures here just over $70.
And we are almost at 10:30, where we can expect volume to start to really wane.
Tesla here rolling back over towards the lows on Tesla. As far as your volume call there, where are we at on the SPY here, 13? Up 14.5 million shares here on the SPY.
Looks like NVIDIA is also trying to test the lows of the day. Yeah, because it's the ultimate risk-on asset. So markets feeling risky. That's where a lot of money ends up going to, because they have all these ETFs and companies that are mostly Bitcoin holdings or mining operations. Soft drink names are doing well today. Getting that from Happy Hour chat.
Well, yeah, we talked about Celsius here. What else you got? I know Celsius is doing pretty well here. Pepsi, PEP.
Coca-Cola, Keurig Dr. Pepper.
So these are, I'm almost wondering, let's take a look at the heat map here real quick.
Yeah, so Monster.
So staples.
Yeah. Yep, lots of staples.
Yeah, it looks like the sectors here today, staples, utilities, and energy. There's some mixed performance there in the healthcare, which we saw kind of move with some of these last time. But staples, energy, and utilities looks to be the strong area here today.
Rotation to defense names. So you'll probably end up seeing at some point a rotation toward the Mag 7 again, because it's been a lot of back and forth like that we were watching last week.
Yeah.
Just kind of broadening out into those positions, not so much having this large concentrations in just a handful of stocks anymore. And we can continue to see that too. ICC with $+ in the cards. Get it, bro. General Mills and Verizon both doing pretty well today. AT&T, I imagine, would do well today too. Just the ones that have the good cash flow that consumers lean upon heavily for their day-to-day. So internet service providers, food on the table, gas in your tank.
ICCT boom. Our penny stock is booming. Let's see if we go to dollar territory here, ICCT.
It stopped right at 90 cents. Must have been a little bit of a seller in the way there. Mara, Riot, all goodbye if you can hold for 2 to 5 years.
T9 from last week curling up.
There we go. Now, Lion, is that because is that just because on the Bitcoin play, or is there something else aside from that you like the miners, like the Bitcoin miners? Because for me, it's going to be iBit. I just want to hold the asset. So through that ETF, that's how I want to play Bitcoin.
Yeah, I don't care much for those miners, to be honest. Dell, this is the company Pete brought up earlier here with a sub 10 PE here. Dell's really struggling, down 3.5% here today.
It's probably just getting more and more attractive.
Costco, I am seeing some puts get bought into this. These are for January of 2026. Costco here moving to the highs. TTD, the trade desk. Are we finally at a bottom here? 54. Well, I'll tell you what, we got to hold this area, don't we? Look at this spot here on the trade desk. We tried to bounce off this area once.
Here comes $1 in ICCT.
Got it?
There it is. Just ticked it. Looks like MLGO might get going here, curling back up. Just run into a bit of resistance here, just a little bit over 23.
Smoke tuna here, 157 target for ICCT. That's where you think this one can go? Okay. Well, what was that, 13? I'm sorry.
Oh, I just meant talking about MLGO. It's still trying to push up here, but it keeps running into resistance around the 23.25 area. BTC will be higher in 5 years, so the miners will be higher as well. So you got to think,
hope so, but maybe not.
You got to think though. What are those miners going to have to deal with in those 5 years in terms of cost operationally? Like, it takes a lot of power to mine,
and it's going to take more and more as time goes by.
And just think about what happened, where we were 5 years ago with everything, and how much has changed in those 5 years. Maybe some of them survive, maybe some of them don't. But the time between where Bitcoin is going to do much better in that 5 year span versus now, I don't know that I'd be wanting to hold through all that. They may end up having to do more offerings. They may end up having to, reverse split if it goes down far enough, or they fall out of compliance. I mean, there's just a lot of question marks to be holding. I would just rather hold the underlying asset, the Bitcoin.
Same. That's been my strategy from the beginning. 13. So with this move higher in oil, ConocoPhillips also at the highs.
All right.
Rigetti did end up taking out that 8 and moving higher. This actually, 8:15? This was the after hours spot that it was butting up at earlier here today. That is working. X continuing to move lower here. Remember, this had a downgrade this morning. Ticker X. BMO Capital downgrades U.S. Steel to market perform. $45 price target, which we're right under.
Is that deal going to close or what?
I don't know. Hood here, this is still doing a pretty decent job holding and building above 40. We took a look at Hood earlier. MicroStrategy flirting with red-green right now. See, where's MicroStrategy at? Oh, so we basically just lost this trend that we were taking a look at. Higher lows here, though, on MicroStrategy. This one, I think, would be higher. This one I'd rather own than the miners for the 5 year time horizon we were just talking about.
Well, I mean, they've already bought a whole bunch of Bitcoin at a price that's higher than where it's at right now. So they're kind of losing on all that.
MicroStrategy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's going to keep dollar cost averaging it, I would imagine.
Okay.
And remember this, what was the story from last week? I have to go back and let me see. Hang on a sec here. He was talking about the collateral that he had used for that. Hang on a sec. I don't want to misquote that. I'm just going to look like a moron if I do that. Let me find that here real quick. 13.
All right. So ICCT, I guess this is just gearing up to make a bigger move through $1 again, because it got to 101 and started showing some weakness. Maybe we get a bit of a bull flag or bull panic forming here over the next 5-10 minutes.
So with MicroStrategy here, we had talked last week about a story. Michael Saylor was talking about letting his private keys expire for his own Bitcoin, not from Strategy's company-owned Bitcoin, with the intention of making everyone else richer. I had said last week, 13, when we had covered that reminds me of Goldfinger's plot for the Federal Reserve in the James Bond movie, where he's going to nuke the Fort Knox and make the price of his own gold worth more by making the United States gold radioactive. Thought that was kind of funny. But nonetheless, he had said here, according to Saylor, Strategy has, quote, built an indestructible balance sheet. Now, the indestructible balance sheet, this is a quote from Michael Saylor, not from me, so just understand. Built an indestructible balance sheet. Bitcoin could trade down 99%. There's no margin call coming. The instruments that are constructed don't have Bitcoin pledged as a collateral. So that was the news we got last week. So Saylor here thinking that even if it moves down, he's going to be fine. And the financial moves that they made to do that also going to be fine.
All right.
Jonathan here mentioning MicroStrategy earnings next month. They'll have to use that FASB accounting.
Yeah. And ICCT blew through $1, 113 now the high.
Okay. That was a nice pop on that pre-market. The volume has really told the story here, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been doing pretty well. CORT still making or trying to push higher into, it's trying to get to that 105 area again. It's making its next visit here. This should be the one where it pushes through. If not, we might see some weakness in this one. CTOR still hasn't gotten above its 200 EMA. DOMH, that's still down there. QSG lost 65 EMA. MLGO at VWAP. IonQ trying to push higher into trying to get back over 23 again. My size losing at 65 EMA. That thing might be either done for the day or done until the afternoon. It looks like GUR is still holding above its VWAP. That's good.
Hood also above its VWAP, trying to go higher. Google trying to break its VWAP.
My size is getting hot, says John. That's the MYSZ. It's got to get back above the
getting
65
hot.
EMA. I mean, it's cooled off. I guess his expectation is that it starts to turn around here.
I mean, I would argue this thing's been hot all day. I mean, I guess maybe it did pull recently here, but this has been hot here today. See if it turns around here. What do we got? 65 EMA? Is that what you were just saying there? Right at 209?
Yeah. All right. There's a little bit more out of ICCT, trying to get up to through that 113 area.
Intel having an all right day too. Looks like, I tell you what, it looks like a lot of these stocks have kind of put the lows in. Let's take a look at the SPY and see where we're at.
Well, not
SPY here holding up near the highs.
Not MLGO. This thing knifing right now. Nope. CORT still needs to get through 105. Blue, it's printed slightly higher, but still kind of trying to get out of this consolidation it's been in for most of the morning. Okay, I see that my size is trying to, hold back above its 65 EMA. Well, I would want to see this, close above that more than once in order for me to feel good about this thing turning around. MLGO dummy gas and going down.
Apple
ICCT,
at the highs. Sorry.
No worries. ICCT definitely overextended. I think it is. It might be as well. RSI on this is over 80. So it wouldn't be surprising to me if this thing came back in. We are still putting in new highs. It just hit 118.
This thing's got to pull at some point. I'd be selling into this move.
Yeah, and it's chewing away through that resistance that it was just dealing with there at 116. It's really starting to slow down. Sorry.
It's okay. Go Steve D asking, are people going more to dividend stocks right now? STHD up nice and some other dividend plays. I think so, yes. The only thing that I've been buying that I plan on holding is in fact dividend stocks. Tim has been bringing you dividend stocks pretty much every day for what feels like months now, man. He was really early on that Europe call too. But yes, and actually they just had someone on earlier on CNBC. I didn't catch the whole thing, so I don't know what else they were talking about. But the closing comment that I heard was, or asking him about bonds, and he said, who needs bonds when you can just buy high dividend yields or high dividend yield stocks? So yes, people are definitely seem to be piling into dividend stocks. Go Steve. Go Steve D.
There's been a bit of a growth scare. So they were going into names that have good cash flow that are income stocks that if you have to hold them for a while, at least they're going to pay you a dividend.
That's right.
A lot of these names that are really getting hammered too are making their dividend yields that much more attractive. One of them that I've been getting a lot of because it's been having the highest dividend yield of its entire stock's history is UPS. That hasn't stopped. That hasn't. What's that?
That was a really good example. We actually looked at UP. You had mentioned that last week, did you not? And we looked at that being at a real good spot here. And I remember you had saying dividend is as high as it's ever been. What a surprise! That stock is green today.
Made it. Yeah, it traded its way through that consolidation in the after hours. So that's a good sign. Just trading much better today, but it's been hammered recently. So it needed this.
Here's ICCT, smoked tuna. Ring that register, baby. You think this has got more? ICCT up 270% here? You let me know. Lion says you can't go wrong with great companies with a great dividend. There you go, Lion. Now you're hitting the nail on the head. Completely agree with you. Having a long-term approach on those, not a bad plan either.
CTOR is on a run now. It's recaptured its VWAP. Trying to get moving. Had a nice break through the 200 EMA and the 65, all the way up through VWAP. Great move. Hollow is getting a mention. So Lion Atlas bringing us some dividend plays here. You got UPS, Mosaic, and Pepsi.
We talked about all of those these last couple of weeks. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm. And what's going on with some of these other names? Lots of sideways action here. Some things going lower. Looks like some of these. Just double check, make sure that's what I'm seeing.
How's the market doing? Did we go to zero yet on the market? No. Okay, so we're holding this 551 area. Now remember, 551.91. That's your 10% pullback level. And so, I know that's not really. That's just kind of a level that we measured here, but it would be curious to see if we can actually close above that, and that's within striking distance. Thank you, Lion. I did sneeze, but I muted it so I didn't blow you guys out, but you still figured it out. Appreciate you. That was pretty good. I'm impressed.
Edward's mentioning AGNC because they have monthly dividends. There are some stocks out there that do have some nice monthly dividends. ADC is another one.
AGNC, this one? Was this the first one that you had mentioned?
I believe so. Yeah, it's a REIT. REITs are probably going to end up doing better this year just because we anticipate rate cuts. Float's a little large on this one, almost 900 million shares. Where is the chart? What's the chart look like on this one? This thing recently just endured a pretty steep sell-off. We are rebounding today. As a matter of fact, that RSI may have been under 30 by the time that, it was under 30 this morning when it opened. So we might be getting a bit of an RSI bounce play here as well. It has a lot of work to do to get it to make its way back up to where it was, especially the 200-day SMA. That's going to be at 9.95. So it's 40 cents away, but it took a few days for it to get down here.
Russ here mentioning SMCI. This about to try a red-green move right here in the red by 4 cents. The one thing that I would keep in mind here, SMCI, this thing has really been obeying this trend, and we're near the top end of the trend here. I would put that number at about $39-40. I would be if it can trade above that and maybe give you a couple of closes above that. Maybe we turn some stuff around here, but this would be about the top end of what I'm thinking SMCI can do until something else new happens here, till we change the view here.
SMCI, the next level of resistance I have is going to be $36.
Okay. Crow mentioning that Izzy mentioning that the Dow went green. I didn't think that was allowed, but we are pretty much at unchanged here. We are at green, so Dow is green. SPY 0.75% away from going green. I don't know if it's got the strength to do that here today. Now, again, as soon as I woke up, I thought we were going to see the end of the world today. So I'm really shocked to see this type of performance. I mean, I'm totally caught off guard.
I feel the sarcasm.
I'll stop being. I'll stop being a jerk.
Feel it just a little bit there.
What's that?
I feel the sarcasm just a little bit there.
I mean, it is what it is. Lion, you like MPLX for a dividend?
Midstream.
Not one. Yeah, so 7.2%. This is not one that I own. Sounds like you've got this one though.
Let's see what's
Tell you what, this QSG was kind of a bummer. This thing didn't really do much here today. Had better luck with ICCT and MLGO. I don't know that I would have guessed, to be honest. Nike here looks like this did a really good job. So remember, we were talking about potential support area here on Nike. I had said that 660 to 63 was going to be your next support level. Now, I'm not saying that Nike's done here, but it sure looks like it's bouncing off of this 63 level so far.
So Zim might be interesting since we're talking about dividend plays. I mean, they only pay dividend if they've had really good quarters. But this is getting absolutely hammered. I'd be looking at $13.
Which one? Sorry,
Zim. I'd be looking at $13 as the next support area.
Bernhard, Ryan, we will miss you, but hope you make it to the Masters somehow. Bernhard, I don't think you have to worry about this year at all. First of all, I don't know if I'm ever going, but I'm very confident in saying that I have no chance of going this year. So you won't be missing me this year. I'll let you know. Believe me, if I know, I should be able to give you plenty of warning. So no problem.
Looks like ICCT is trying to make a decision if it's going to go into 125 or not.
Did break above, 124 was your high print there.
Court might also try to make another move above VWAP again. Let's see what we get out of these. And we are past 10:30 now, and volume is drying up. So just be careful with the expectations that you're going to have for some of these. We might not get the follow through we're looking for.
We're actually long past 10:30 here. We actually have 9 minutes until we wrapped up here. We are going to send you to Trader Bacon next, but we've got 9 more minutes to finish off here on this day. And by the way, quick check-in here. I know we were talking about the market at least coming up off the bottom. We'll leave it there. But breadth still poor across the board. SPY, Dow, Qs, Russell, and Nice, all negative breadth. Also, just to kind of look at the advancers to decliners, which Anne-Marie has been talking to us about recently, we are minus 695 right now. But if you take a look at the intraday from Friday, the low was minus 1733, and we have totally come off of that. So we're still, more issues are still declining than advancing, but this is far less than it was at the worst point on Friday. Plenty of time for that to turn around. VIX, by the way, that came off the 2480 high. That's sitting at 23 on the VIX.
My size just looked like it had a capitulation move down to the consolidation from the pre-market before the move started happening. We might see some buyers start to step in with my size again, just to put that out there.
Yep. Go ahead.
Also watching CTOR. This is trying to push through its VWAP. And we're also getting a lot of really good movement out of ICCT still. That printed above
new
132.
High.
Yeah, new high of 132. Be very careful with how extended this one is. I feel like there could be some kind of a pull coming here soon with ICCT, especially for how extended it is.
So you bring up a good point, but I will say this. I had said be careful earlier when the stock was 80 cents, and here we are 46 cents higher. So look, this is what makes these that have really popped. It makes it really, really difficult, right? You look at something that's up 200% and you think, how could this really go another 100%? And then it goes another 100%. It's just like wild stuff there. Ryan, Arnold Palmer was one of my clients. I had lunch at the Masters with him back in the day. Tell me you ordered an Arnold Palmer to drink. I mean, that is, you had to have done that. Wild, though, that he was one of your clients. Heard he's a super nice guy. By the way, MicroStrategy here, MSTR. This actually looking like this is going to try and push higher here, too. This actually looks very similar to Bitcoin's chart, which looks like it's trying to push higher. ONDS, which really kind of rolled over from those initial highs that it was making, that also trading up back towards the highs.
Yeah, I don't know about that line. Zim does well when the shipping rates are high. And what happened in the Red Sea caused shipping rates to go up. So that's why Zim was doing well last year. The Middle East conflict's ending. I don't think that's going to do a whole lot for shipping rates, except if anything, maybe it creates more stability. So it would bring them down. So I would think that if the Middle East conflicts lighten up, that's probably not going to be good for Zim because it's going to nominalize shipping rates.
CELH holding near its highs.
CTOR, it's now above its VWAP, but it needs better volume than this if it's going to go higher. Justin Bourne says ALGO.
Love that handle. I think that's a typo.
Yeah,
I think he meant MLGO.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I think so. Oh no. Oh no. Not now. Okay. And then real quickly here. So we still got 5 minutes. So the only IPO here today is going to be Newsmax. That's NMAX. That is open now. Newsmax trading higher here. It's like that opened at what, 14? Shares were priced at 10. NMAX. I'm not trading this one, but this is your IPO for the day.
I feel like this is just another BuzzFeed.
Yeah, I had said earlier when I had talked about this when we opened here, this is going to be one of the conservative leaning news channels. I'll be honest with you. I don't see a bull case for any news channel, no matter what side of the aisle it's on, to be quite honest with you. Maybe that's just a personal thing for me. Independent media is so much better than all of these, in my opinion. Not really interested in trading this. But if you guys come up with trade plans for any of these things, I'm, of course, interested in hearing about it, whether or not I trade it or not.
ICCT, I don't like that last candle, that last 5 minute candle we just had. That might be a topping out candle. Be careful with ICCT. CTOR lost VWAP, but still holding above the 65 EMA. Don't know how much we're going to get out of this one, especially with the volume being what it is. Looks like some of these quantum names are kind of going sideways right now. They may just be setting up to go higher, but you just be careful because if it looks like they are topping out, they may just be rolling over. But for now, it looks like they're just going sideways, so I'm not sure.
I think traders are bored, folks. Newsmax here halted on a circuit breaker, 1672. I just think there's not a lot of stuff to trade. And the folks that are just forced into sitting in front of their terminal are looking for anything they can here. NMAX, NMAX, halted at the highs.
That must be the case because ICCT is still trying to get pushed up higher. It hasn't hit the high of a 132 like it just did in the last candle, but it's still trying to get pushed up.
Sweet one, CoreWeave, CRWV. People forgot about this one pretty fast, huh? No. Well, maybe. But we did not forget about that here, my man, because we talked about this here earlier. I brought you two news stories here on CoreWeave. Yeah, I had said at IPO, I don't know about this one. We're actually lower than where that was now. Had some comments here regarding people that were around the offering saying, I don't know about this one. CEO was on CNBC last week. CoreWeave here moving lower.
Yeah, a lot of sideways price action, a lot of bored people looking for trades.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous combination.
I'll tell you in 13. I'm glad that you brought that up here because I know we're almost over here. We got a minute left, so we'll go to the closing comments here. But this is one of the reasons why I've been so happy we've been able to find trades like DG. Also, I would throw SQQQ, TQQQ back into the mix there. If you give me something that I can track every day, I'm less likely to have to have that stir craziness where I'm like, I got to trade, I got to find something, I got to do something. Otherwise, I'm wasting my time. I'm able to, these things are working here. By the way, DG over 88 here. You wanted to see it bust above and close above 88, right?
Yep.
We'll see if we get that close here today. Okay. We do have Trader Bacon next. 13, did you want to, any closing words for the group here?
Oh, I think we've talked about everything that I want to say in closing here. This is going to be one of those days. This is going to be one of those days where we just have all the market coming back in. Things aren't trading as well as they could. We're getting a lot of things pulling in, not having the follow through that we're looking for. Be careful, especially if you're bored. Don't take any trades just because you need something to do. If you need something to do, get up out of your chair and go outside, touch some grass, enjoy yourself,
or go gardening.
Go gardening. Yeah, there's plenty of green outside. There might not be enough inside today. So just go get that green outside. Don't get yourself stuck in any positions. I'll see you tomorrow, folks. Have a great rest of your day.
All right. Good stuff, 13. Thanks again for walking us through another tough day here. Folks, we are going to go to Trader Bacon next. I'm just going to kind of echo some of the things that he said. Be careful. Be careful here today. No reason to let your boredom really make things worse for you. Yes, markets are up off the lows, but still down here today. We're going to reassess everything tomorrow. Enjoy.